Okay, let's talk through all these golf events that you have coming up.
Gabby, I'm glad you asked. Got my calendar right here. July 17th at Red Run, and then July 31st, I have the American Golf Outing for the Cancer Society.
I also have the American Cancer Society golf outing on the 31st, and also I got yours on the 18th, buddy.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be there.
Whoa, boys, these are a lot of events and golf outings.
Well, you want me to miss my own golf tournament?
Gabby, they're all great cars.
I mean, this is...
Hold on. I got this. Guys, I got this. Don't worry about it. Hold on a second.
He always...
Hey guys, thanks for coming so fast. How are ya?
Remember the guys from Randy Wise, right? The Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
Watch for the eye.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports, and some, well, not so much. Brought to you in part by Premier Security Solutions, Fairway Packing Company, and Swiss Insurance. Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here at woodwardsports.com. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. I hope your Friday is off to a fantastic start. We have a great show lined up for you today. Let's go over what we're going to cover for the day. Why don't I, Jeff? Why don't I?
Yep, take it away.
Sure, I'll just take it away. So we're going to touch a little bit on Tracy Walker and the drought of Detroit's playoffs, which is quite extensive. Jeff pulled the numbers for those, and it's a bit concerning, but we're on the upward. You know, we're starting over. We're all building. It's a new day. And then we're going to get into some talk on David Montgomery. And then, of course, as you may have heard yesterday, we're going to do double trivia this week. A little bit of double trivia. We had
on
trivia
movies
earlier this week. Yep. And we're going to do movie trivia today. And all I have to warn you all is that it's going to be very concerning for the lack of knowledge that Jeff and Flannel are about to have, because the questions I lined up, I'm not taking it easy on them today. So we're gonna have a good start to the morning and get this thing kicking off. Jeff, how was your morning?
It was solid, especially this morning. I know even yesterday, coming off the technical difficulties, I'm happy to be here, me and Sam Flannel, going at it for trivia. And I don't know what questions you're asking. I know what the topic is. Yes. I don't know what movies you're going to cover. So, I don't know. Depending on the genre, I think I got you, Sam. But maybe there's a genre that you know more than me. But we'll see.
What do you think the genre is that each of you are most familiar with?
I think comedies and maybe horror movies.
Interesting. Okay, so I am not a horror movie person, so there are not many horror movie questions. I will say I think there's one in the bunch. What about you, Flannel?
I was going to say either comedies from maybe the early 2000s or Martin Scorsese movies like Taxi Driver and Goodfellas and stuff like that. But you know what? If none of that's there, I might actually lose.
Yeah, you know what? You seem like a romantic type of guy.
A romantic type of guy?
Maybe like The Notebook. You know, maybe...
I've actually never seen The Notebook, believe it or not.
Okay, well, never mind that argument.
I mean, actually, I can believe that. You'd be surprised with the amount of people that haven't seen The Notebook. I honestly, I'm going to give myself up. I haven't seen it until the last 2 years, maybe a year.
Wow. Yeah, I've never once thought to myself, you know what, I got to see The Notebook. I haven't. I feel like The Notebook's something you watch with your, at least if you're a man, and I'm not just speaking for myself, your significant other.
Definitely.
Like, I don't think there's Sam Flannel at home just sitting there like, hey, let's turn on The Notebook.
No.
Right, Sam? That'd have to be something your wife says, hey, you don't want to watch The Notebook? And then by that point, you kind of have to.
Yeah, well, and she's never actually pressured me to watch The Notebook as of right now. So everything is all good. I haven't had to watch it thus far. And I've heard that it's actually pretty sad at the end. And I don't like sad endings. I hate them more than the average person. So I'm going to stay away from The Notebook for now.
Well, just to continue, guys, again, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the stream, and help support us. But again, if you're not watching live, it's all good. You can download our podcast and leave a 5-star review, because again, Sam Flannel has a different flannel. And by the way, I want to keep track of this, because you said he had 18 flannels yesterday, which I was mind blown by this. And I don't think I've ever met anybody with more than 4. So
really,
18. That is all-time leading scorer in flannels right there.
Wow.
That's the most flannels I've ever heard of. But again, leave a 5-star review. It's available anywhere you got podcasts. And if you're watching on our website, don't forget to check out the latest news, articles, updates, show clips, and merchandise. But Sam, I wanted to bring this up because Gabby kind of alluded to it already. Did you hear about the Boston Celtics calling up the Detroit Pistons about Isaiah Stewart?
I did.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I don't think we've actually spoken about not just Isaiah, but your thoughts on Isaiah. Because I've always said I feel, and I think the Pistons feel, that Isaiah's value is high. And same with a lot of other teams. I know people look at Isaiah Stewart and they're like, he's a 6'8", 6'9". He just is learning how to shoot now. He's just started stretching the floor this year. But there's a lot of value for guys, Sam, that are that height, can guard multiple positions, now has a three-point shot. Like, people can call Isaiah Stewart whatever you want, but there's still value in Isaiah Stewart.
I actually am the complete 180. I am cool if the Boston Celtics just take him at this point. And that's no disrespect to Isaiah Stewart, although that might sound disrespectful, but when in his first couple seasons, when he didn't really have a developed three-point shot, what he was basically an undersized 4. And yes, he's gotten better at guarding the perimeter, but down low, he's just too small. And you talk about this three-point shot that he's magically gotten. What I saw was 4 attempts per game and 32.7% shooting. That is damaging to the team.
A lot of that was towards the end, because at the beginning, for a majority of the season, he was about like 34, 35%, and then towards the end, he was in a terrible slump. But that was his first year, really spacing out, and like you said, over 4 attempts from 3. He's only 20 years old, Sam.
Jeff, you are the totality of what you do over the season. I don't care if you have a good stretch, although it's obviously better than if he didn't have one, but at the same time, at the end of the year, 4 attempts per game and 32.7% shooting from 3, that is detrimental to your team. And I don't think he provides enough other things. Although, like I said, he is valuable, he is tough, he's developed into a better perimeter defender than I think he ever would have, but he's just too small. He is the classic tweener. And my thing was, if he developed a consistent three-point shot, that is his key to being valuable for the Detroit Pistons. But he hasn't yet. Don't act like he has. 32.7% is not good, especially on high volumes.
Okay, but Sam.
Okay.
This is where I'm coming from. Okay, so you're all for trading Isaiah Stewart. Now The question is, what are you getting back? Because for the Boston Celtics, I mean, what Grant Williams, if he's re-signed, like what is there? That's my point too. Is like there's nothing on the Celtics roster I'm interested in but Jaylen Brown. And for Jaylen Brown, in my opinion, you got to give up Ivy. You got to give up more than just Isaiah Stewart. So I don't think it makes sense. I think James Edwards reported also that the Pistons are not trading Isaiah Stewart. He'd be shocked if they do. And I don't want this to sound like Isaiah Stewart's untouchable. I'm not saying that, because the only player, in my opinion, that's untouchable is Cade Cunningham.
I agree with that.
But I do think there's players that are right under untouchable. That is, we don't want to trade these players. And I think there's Ivy, Duren, and I think Isaiah Stewart's there as well. And again, say whatever you want to say. There's a lot of value. And there was even value, and James also reported this, when the Pistons took him in that draft, teams immediately were calling and were trying to see if they could take him off their hands. There was a lot of value in Isaiah Stewart. Say what you want. And I know he just developed his three-point shot, but if he can get that thing to 35, 36%, there's a lot of value for bigs that can shoot. I mean, that can play small ball 5 in different scenarios.
If he can get it to 35, 36%, then we're having a different conversation. My thing was, I was expecting him to maybe do that this past year, and he fell woefully short. Isaiah Stewart, and this is going to anger a lot of people, and Jeff, I thought you were more above this than some. Isaiah Stewart is the classic player that is easy for Detroit Pistons fans to make a folk hero out of. He's tough. He has the worst nickname in all of NBA.
Now, this isn't Tom Kennedy. This isn't Tom Kennedy. I don't want that, because that's a folk hero. This is Isaiah Stewart's actually played significant time.
It's like, I don't know, a lot of people see him as like the next upcoming bad boy type player. And I know the crystallization between the LeBron haters and the folk heroization of Detroit Pistons players, it all just was perfectly intertwined when Isaiah Stewart tried to psychotically fight LeBron for whatever reason. I know he gained a lot of respect amongst Pistons fans among that, and it was another thing to be like, see, why, like LeBron, like it was just another reason to hate LeBron and to prop up another Pistons player. So me, I'm not a big Isaiah Stewart fan.
Now I know
he can
why.
Go away.
It's because he chased Braun. It's because he chased LeBron. You feel some type of way.
Well, but then it was another reason for Pistons fans to be like, oh, yeah, Isaiah Stewart's going to go get that bitch LeBron or whatever. That LeBron would have knocked his ass out. Stop it.
Oh,
Stop it.
See? Now the truth comes out. Now we know where this beef comes from with Isaiah Stewart. And later in the show, actually, if you guys stick around, you're going to want to see this. Apparently you have beef with David Montgomery.
I don't have beef with David Montgomery. I just want to put some things into perspective.
Yeah, and I can't wait for Sam to break all that down and much more. But again, Tracy Walker, other in Detroit news, he's set to return to football activity. I know Ifitu Melifonwu was playing in place of him at minicamp. And Gabby, I don't know, what was Tracy doing, I guess, while you were there? Was he just on the sideline?
Yeah, just on the
Lockdown,
sidelines.
yeah.
Nothing crazy. I mean, for the most part, everyone that was not there, that was not available, they were still finding ways to be involved in the conversations and involved with what was happening. The only person that I remember walking out a little bit later one day was Rodrigo. He walked out later one day. Obviously, they're in and out in the training room, things like that. But even when they're not on the field, and number one example of that is Hendon Hooker. He's still involved. He's still helping carry balls around the field, dragging the bag of equipment with them as they're going from drill to drill with all the quarterbacks. So they're still getting that camaraderie with the team.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. I mean, Tracy Walker, people forget the season they got Penei Sewell before that got them Penei Sewell. He led the team in tackles. He was one of their best defensive players, period. And now, unfortunately, last season when you had Aiden, you had Malcolm, you had Kirby. And Kirby honestly took off because of that Tracy Walker injury. So it was a blessing in disguise, but man, people forget the value Tracy Walker has. He's a great, going to be one of their best secondary players this year.
Tracy Walker is an interesting one because in 2021, you could argue that he was their best defender on a bad defense, on a bad team. It was either him or Charles Harris, I would say.
Yes.
But then, of course, in early 2022, he got hurt, a devastating Achilles injury. And ever since then, here's what happened. Kirby Joseph emerged. Brad Holmes signed Cam Sutton, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and Emmanuel Mosley in the offseason, and they drafted Brian Branch. I'm worried when it comes to Tracy Walker, he might be the one who turns into the odd man out. He might be one of those that just lost his regular rotation position due to injury. I'm not saying he's never going to play. I'm not saying he's not going to be on the field, but he is coming back from a devastating injury, and the Lions have revamped their secondary more than just about any other team since then, from a horrible secondary to one that we think will be good, and that's not even including Tracy Walker. So I respect the hell out of what he did. I'm just worried that he might be one who becomes lost in the shuffle.
And isn't that crazy, too, to look at the secondary from when Tracy was healthy and played an entire season to what it looks like now? Like, he was your best secondary player 2 years ago, and now he's where? I mean, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Kirby, who a lot of us love, and Kirby's going to be a damn good player. And still, Brian Branch you drafted. You get Tracy, and obviously, but still, there's so much more depth now. And credit to Brad Holmes for turning the secondary around. Lucas, Tracy Walker, set to return to football activities, man. What is this secondary? What does it mean for him to be back? But number two, your thoughts on just the secondary as a whole. How stacked that unit is.
For him to be back this quick is huge just because, like we just talked about, we have C.J. Gardner-Johnson, we have Kirby Joseph, we have Brian Branch. But what those guys can't do that Tracy Walker can do is he can play in the box as a linebacker. He can play at the same time as Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Alex Anzalone. He can play as that safety in the box, which is like we talked about, he led the team in tackles. That's what he does best. So I think Aaron Glenn...
Hey, is your mic on?
No.
Oh, I don't think I had one muted me. Go back to you.
All right, well, Sid, unfortunately, I'm just kidding. I love you, Lucas. Yeah, unfortunately, his mic is off. So
Not because it was my fault.
No,
I did not do that. Promise.
Gabby did not mute Lucas. This was just purely a mishap. But I'll tell you what, we'll go to break. When we get back, I do want to get into the Detroit playoff drought, which, again, if you guys hear the days or see the days, it's unreal. And we're going to talk about which team we think will be the first one to end the streak. But before we do that, Sam Flannel, if you want to look like Beef Stew, where can I go?
I mean, Beef Stew is a very jacked man. I would love to look like Beef Stew, even though I'm not a huge fan of him as a player. But you would, of course, go to Planet Fitness because, of course, that's where Isaiah Stewart goes. And Planet Fitness is thrilled to allow high schoolers ages 14 through 19 in the United States and Canada to work out for free all summer long, going through August 31st. Teens under 18 in the U.S. and under 19 in Canada must register with a parent or guardian online or in club. And for everybody else around here, Planet Fitness is the best gym available with all the amenities, and you can get memberships starting at only $10 a month, or you can sign up for the Black Card and upgrade for $24.99 per month. Join today in club or online. Visit planetfitness.com. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here at woodwardsports.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. Gabrielle D. Phillips, Jeff Iafrate, Mr. Sam Flannel. Thanks for tuning in. And if you are listening after the fact, wherever you listen to your podcast, download this episode and leave a 5-star review, like on YouTube, and subscribe. And if you're on the website, check out the merchandise. We had some updates yesterday. A new Lions hutch design maybe went up onto the website. So if you want to go poke around and find that, pretty cool design, and more coming every single week.
Thank you guys for sticking with us. Now, almost halfway through the first hour. Thanks again. If you haven't already, drop a like on the stream and show some support. I want to bring this up to you, Sam, and get your reactions from it, because you're not a Detroit native. You're not a Michigan native. But these numbers, all right, days since one of the 4 major Detroit sports teams advanced in the playoffs, okay? Did you hear me? Advanced in the playoffs. Tigers. Can you at least, well, you kind of already saw the prep, so it's ruined the surprise. But I'll say this, okay? 3,534 days for the Tigers. 3,534 days. The Red Wings, 3,685 days. The Pistons, gotta love the Pistons, 5,510 days. The Lions, well, this one we kind of knew was going to be hefty, 11,483 days. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot. Those were a lot of days.
Yes,
and everything's always more when you put it in days than years. So these numbers are obviously way worse. But what I will ask you is, Sam, in your opinion, out of the 4 franchises, now that Monty Williams is hired, and it seems like now we have more confidence with all the franchises, who's running them, who's in charge, who's the first one to end this streak?
It's definitely the Detroit Lions.
Besides the Lions.
Besides the hey,
because that is probably the obvious one. Besides the Lions, who's the first one?
I would probably go with the Detroit Red Wings as of right now. I think there's an outside chance that they do it this next season. Obviously, we saw the 8 seed in the NHL Florida Panthers make it to the Stanley Cup, so you never know how far away the Red Wings actually are. But with Steve Yzerman at the helm, he's a guy that's proven. He's a guy that helped build the Tampa Bay Lightning during his tenure there. And I always said that when it's all said and done, I think Steve Yzerman will be the no doubt 100% greatest sports figure in the history of Detroit. And that goes along with him helping build the Red Wings back into the winner that they were when he was actually a player on the team. I mean, you saw with Steve Yzerman, he's had, I'd say, a hit rate when it comes to Mo Sider and Lucas Raymond. I think those were both hits, and Mo Sider looks like a mega hit. And even last season, going into last season, signing some veterans like Andrew Kopp and Dominic Kubalik and what's that other? Ville Husso. That was a big one.
They might have found a starting
actually
goaltender.
Solidified their goaltending position,
Absolutely.
which they did not have before. So for me right now, I would go with the Detroit Red Wings because I think there's a chance that they make the playoffs next year. And I didn't even mention how Steve Yzerman was able to flip guys like Tyler Bertuzzi and Jacob Verana and a Hronek for extra picks. I think the Red Wings are the team that is most on the right direction, and I still think the Pistons and Tigers, despite my optimism that they have the right guys, they're still far away.
You know, we're in lockstep here, Sam. I think the biggest thing for me is Steve Yzerman, point blank. Like, there's more confidence I have in Steve and the progress that's been shown with, and you kind of just ran all through it for all the reasons why. I think the Pistons, getting Monty puts them closer because you saw the Miami Heat this year as an 8 seed do what they did. But Eric Spoelstra, I believe, is the best coach in the NBA. And then you have Jimmy Butler, who in playoff time becomes a different animal. So I feel like that team at least is an anomaly. The Panthers having confidence in what they did this year. I can see the Red Wings ending this streak first. I can, given the players already on the roster, and I got more stock in Stevie Y than. And I love Troy Weaver, But we still got to figure out this year. They haven't even got to free agency yet. We don't even know who they're going to add. The Red Wings at least have a pretty good core of guys. You're confident in a lot of guys they have. They just need to probably add one more big fish, big star, superstar. But the Pistons need like veterans. You need these guys to develop into their prime. Like there's a lot that needs to happen for the Pistons to get there, I think.
Absolutely.
They're not ready anytime soon.
No, but here's the thing, and this is something that I think I have an advantage on when it comes to being someone who's worked on a lot of different shows lately, and you get a lot of different perspectives. One thing that's interesting about where the Detroit sports scene is as a whole is we went through the list of all those years and years and years and days and days and days since these Detroit sports teams have advanced in the playoffs of any kind, including the Detroit Lions, which is an astronomical over 11,000 days. Just terrible, horrible in that sense. But I also think that every single one of those teams have given us reasons to be optimistic for the future. Obviously, the Lions, I think we expect them to both win the division and a playoff game this next upcoming year. We just talked about the Red Wings, how we think they are on the right track.
Yes.
Even the Detroit Tigers. Al Avila was the worst GM in the history of Detroit sports, but now they brought in Scotty Harris. And Scotty Harris, and I actually got this stat from Neil Rule. I got to give him credit for this one because I think this is a big deal. Even philosophically, the Detroit Tigers are not necessarily better this year in the win column, but last season they were last in the American League in walks. This season, they are 8th in the American League in walks. And what's the best way for a team with not a lot of talent to maybe expedite their progress?
Just get on base.
Just get on base. To quote the great movie Moneyball, one of my favorites of all time. And AJ Hinch, even though there's a lot of dark cloud over his World Series win with the Astros, he's still a World Series winning manager. And then you look at the Detroit Pistons, who just recently made the splash hire of Monty Williams, who was somebody that I said before should have never been fired from Phoenix.
No.
And when that gift is available, you take that gift, you don't re-gift it, even if you have to overpay, which you can argue the Pistons did, but there's no salary cap when it comes to coaches, so it's all well and good. And Troy Weaver has hit on his last 3 first-round draft picks. I think we can all agree with that. So all of these teams that have been basically poverty for years upon years upon years are all headed in the right direction. And that, I think, is the bigger overlying takeaway than it's been so long since they've won. I think they're all 4 going to rise again at some point, some quicker than others.
I think in 2 to 3 years' time, you can have multiple teams in Detroit end this streak. That's what I believe. And at least the reason why I'm putting more stock in the Red Wings compared to the Pistons is when Monty Williams first got to Phoenix, they won 19 games. Or, excuse me, the year before he got to Phoenix. When he got to Phoenix, they won 34 games. I believe it was around that number. So, again, it's progress, but enough to break a playoff streak? No, it's not. And I think the Pistons this year should win 30-ish games, but they're not going to make the playoffs. I don't think so. No. And I would be shocked if they did. The Red Wings last year were in that phase of winning 30-ish games, making some progress. Like the Red Wings this season now are ready to take that next jump. That's why the Red Wings are closer to me. And again, the Lions would probably be the obvious one. But even so, Sam, and I'll ask you, I get credit or I get flack sometimes, not from everybody, because there are people that think it's fair, to expect the Lions, not only if they win their division, but if they host a playoff game, they're going to be favorited, and by default, they should win that game.
Yes.
So if they win that game, they end the streak. But to the people that only expect a division win, the streak is going to keep going.
It would still keep going.
So what are your thoughts on that? What's your expectation? Is it fair to expect a playoff win to end this 11,000-day streak?
Of course it is, because if you get in the playoffs as a division winner, it's never really guaranteed that you're going to get back again. And if you make the playoffs as a division winner, you by default get a home playoff game. And one of the most disappointing ways to end a season, no matter how up and coming you are, no matter how many years it's been since your team made the playoffs, is if you get upset in your first playoff game at home. I mean, do you think the Minnesota Vikings consider the last season a success? Right. They obviously had a bit of a fraudulent 13-win team, but they won the division. But then they got beat pretty, I wouldn't say handily, but pretty soundly by a wild card New York Giants team. And if that happens to the Detroit Lions, if they say win the division, win 11 or 12 games, and one of their first playoff game is against a 9-win wild card team and they get beat, there will be a bitter taste in the mouths of Lions fans. So to me, I expect next season for them to win the division, obviously, and at the very least win every single one of their home playoff games. Yes. I'm not calling for a Super Bowl, but if it falls that way, that they're able to have a home playoff game first, and we see where it goes from there. Just win all your home playoff games, and then it's a success.
And it's different if you're getting to an NFC title game, Sam, and you're facing San Francisco or Philly. But the first game, you're going to be facing what? The Giants potentially?
Yeah.
I mean, whoever it is, you're going to be favored. So by default, you should win. If you lose at home to, let's just say, New Orleans, or I think New Orleans will win their division, but the Giants, whoever it is, I keep bringing up the Giants, but regardless, that's a disappointment.
It's a disappointment.
And this stat, just to recap it, it says days since one of the 4 major Detroit sports teams advanced in the playoffs.
Gotcha.
So not just getting to the playoffs, like the Pistons winning a series and advancing to the second round. That's what needs to happen. And for the Lions to be winning a playoff game, I don't think it's crazy. And I think the Lions are the clear favorite to do that this season. But down the line, I think the Red Wings and Pistons are right behind them.
I'm
and
gonna
then
agree
the
with you
Tigers
guys.
are slowly getting there as well.
I'm in the same order as well. I have Lions first, then Red Wings, then Pistons, then Tigers. And the reason that I have the Red Wings above the Pistons is because you look at the progress that they're each making, and the Red Wings are just a couple years ahead of the Pistons in terms of development in the front office with the team, with pairing those veterans and the younger players together. You know, we saw Steve Yzerman bring in the coach. Now we're seeing the coach being brought in for the Pistons. We saw, Steve Yzerman going into this last season, he brought in Perron, he brought in Mata, and he's pairing them with the likes of Raymond and Sider. And that kind of energy between, and we're seeing it on the Lions too, the kind of energy between the younger members of the team and the veterans, how important that is. And I think that's still missing from the Pistons. And that key part is what they need in order to find that success. And then the Tigers are the Tigers.
You know what? You know what I need, Gabby? I need to check out Randy Wise, the Celebrity Golf Tour. Can you tell me more about him?
Yeah, Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour is a new show being brought to Woodward Sports thanks to the Randy Wise Automotive team. And you're going to be able to check out episodes very soon at woodwardsports.com. If you go to the website, there's going to be a great section where you can check all the episodes. The first one will be with Coach Jim Harbaugh out on the course, golfing alongside some average Joes, and you might get a sneak appearance of my golf skills as well. So stay tuned for that. And as always, go to Randy Wise and get yourself into a celebrity vehicle today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here at woodwardsports.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to check out our shows later in the day. 11 a.m. Big D Energy. They'll be at Fairway Packing Company, so be sure to tune in for that, as well as Ermanni and Edwards with Maz from 2 to 4. And then the Woodward Heavyweights back here in the studio at 5 p.m. tonight to kick off your weekend. And follow us on all social media at Woodward Sports.
Did you guys see the Hard Knocks news? Not only is Hard Knocks struggling to find a team to take them on because they've already approached the teams that are eligible because, again, you can't have a first-year head coach. It's all these requirements, whatever it is. Chicago Bears, New Orleans Saints, Washington Commanders, and New York Jets were all approached. They all said no. And the Jets really don't want to do it. And I mean, let's be real. I think the obvious choice for Hard Knocks would be the New York Jets. That's probably why they're so adamant on not doing it, because they know that Aaron Rodgers, and Sam, I know you love Aaron Rodgers. All right, you respect the skill set of Aaron Rodgers. I selfishly need this for the New York Jets. I want to see all the ins and outs. I want to see Aaron Rodgers in the flesh. I want to see all the drama, if there is any. I would love it. But the Detroit Lions were approached to do it again. And they denied, obviously. They did it last year. And To be honest with you, the Detroit Lions doing it and then starting 1-6 and then finishing 8-2 and actually having a pretty good season for what we expected isn't too common for people who do Hard Knocks or teams that do Hard Knocks. Typically, it doesn't go well. So your thoughts on the Lions saying no and the teams that were approached, and are you also in agreement that the Jets would be the obvious one, the best one?
It's funny that you mentioned that that teams who usually are on Hard Knocks don't always do as well and sometimes woefully fall short of expectations. Because before the show, I was able to do a little research, and there have been 18 teams since Hard Knocks has been a thing in terms of the off-season Hard Knocks. I'm not talking about what the Arizona Cardinals did last year. I'm just talking about off-season training camp Hard Knocks. 18 teams have done it. 7 have made the playoffs. 11 have not. None have made the Super Bowl. And I'm pretty sure the farthest the team has made it was the 2010 Jets, who were the AFC champions, a team that Braylon was the star wide receiver on. Braylon Edwards from Ermanni and Edwards, 2 to 4 p.m. on Woodward Sports Network. So that's, to me, I just don't think the Detroit Lions need that kind of a distraction right now. Mm-hmm. I know that there's not necessarily, is it correlation or causation? Teams that are on Hard Knocks don't always meet expectations. But was there any sort of correlation between the Lions starting the season 1-6 and then being on Hard Knocks? My gut answer is to say no, because they had a lot of young players. They had to figure a lot of things out. They grew as a team throughout the season. I think we could all see that. But it is a narrative that can start percolating if they were to do it again and then get off to another slow start. And for the record, their first 2 games of the season at Kansas City, home against Seattle, it wouldn't be outside the realm of the possibility for them to get off to a slow start. So I say hard no on the Detroit Lions being on Hard Knocks. I'm glad that they declined it. I think the New York Jets would obviously be the most entertaining. But at this point, is Aaron Rodgers that type of made man in the NFL that he can just snap his fingers and say no at this point?
Well, and again, I want to go through, because in order to be, I guess, because the NFL, or Hard Knocks, can really force themselves on any team. They can just say, hey, we're doing Hard Knocks, but to do it, and I want to go through the criteria, it's no first-year head coach, no playoff appearances in the past 2 years, and no Hard Knocks appearances in the past 10 years. So the Lions technically don't check that last one. They were just on it. But if they were open to it, they could do it. And I can't deny that the new free agents they've added, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Tracy Walker being back, it would be much more entertaining. I think I would agree there. I just, as a fan, I think it'd be way too distracting, Gabby.
Way too distracting. And, I touched on it yesterday. When the cameras are on, the mood completely changes. You become more self-aware. We all do it. I mean, we do it even on the show. You become more self-aware of your behavior, what you're doing. And they need the cameras off in order to get to work. Mm-hmm. We don't need the cameras in there. We don't need the cameras in there all day, every day. It's a completely different vibe. And I wonder, last year, obviously wasn't there for training camp last year, but I'm really curious to hear from the other media, what is the vibe difference this year? You have that core team. You have Dan Campbell. You have a coach that's very in step with his players, that is a big personality, a lot of personalities on the team. So how much did they put on for the cameras last year, and how much are they going to be themselves this year? What is that balance between the two? But going back to Aaron Rodgers, what I'm curious to see is, originally I would have said no. No, Aaron Rodgers is not going to want to do this. He's going to put his foot down, and they're all going to bend over backwards to make sure that he gets what he wants in this situation. But he has been in the New York scene so much lately.
He went to Taylor Swift.
He went to the freaking the Music Theater Awards, the Tonys. He went to the Tonys. He was on the red carpet for the Tonys.
I didn't know that.
He was at Taylor Swift. He's going to all these events. He's on all these red carpets. He's going to all the New York games. He's so involved, and he's finding himself in, I feel like, much more places where he's on camera and being in the scene more. So is he setting himself up for this opportunity where he wants to be on camera and he wants to be on Hard Knocks? Or is he going to want to, still have his mystique of how he is without the cameras in his face all season? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, no, again, just for the purely drama, I want Aaron Rodgers. Even though he is all around New York and he's in the media and he's doing all these different things, maybe it's the football stuff he's not interested in, the Hard Knocks, like anything involving the Jets and what they're going to be doing, he's not involved in. But Sam, or actually Lucas, I want to get your thoughts on this. before we come back, because the Jets to me are the obvious one. I think the Bears would also be a pretty good one, at least for Lions fans, because you get to see inside on a team that's in your division. But where are you at? Do you want the Lions to do Hard Knocks? And what are the available teams would you prefer to do Hard Knocks?
I absolutely want the Lions to do Hard Knocks, and I think the whole reason the Jets aren't is because if they bring Hard Knocks in there, Aaron Rodgers is going to have a media frenzy in there. And if you're going to tell me, like, at this point in Aaron Rodgers' career, we saw him do, like, the Nicolas Cage, like, beater and jorts and boots walking up to training camp. Like, the dude's going to put on way too much of a show than he needs to. I think in this point of his career, he had fun with it. And that's where the Jets' undoing would be with that talented roster. Aaron Rodgers is going to be like, hey. But looking back at it, pause, I'm going to say that Bears for sure. And it's just because of Justin Fields' takeoff. It would be cool to see Justin Fields develop, and at the beginning of the season where they go. I don't think they're going to win the division or anything. They're going to be like a 7-8 win team. But I don't want to watch Aaron Rodgers for my summer. I really don't. I've seen enough of that guy.
And again, I put the poll on our WoodwardSports.com, the chat thread. You could check it out. What team should have Hard Knocks? Lions, Jets, Bears, and the Saints and Commanders are grouped together. Right now, two teams that are tied are Lions and Jets, and the Bears are right behind them. So, again, there's no denying that it would be entertaining if the Lions did it. Like, from a viewer standpoint, I would love it. But as a Lions fan, is that something you really want, Sam? Well, be careful what you ask for.
You may want it, but that's not what the team needs. You got to put the team's needs ahead of your own.
Is it, though? Does it speak to the Lions and how entertaining and how many good personalities they have on their team overall that it sounds like Hard Knocks was about to just discard a rule that's been around since the beginning of Hard Knocks and let the Lions do it again for a second consecutive offseason? Nobody can deny that the Lions have all kinds of personalities, led by King personality himself in their head coach, Dan Campbell, who is, without a doubt, one of the most entertaining coaches to watch in terms of a Hard Knocks setting or at a press conference setting in all of the NFL. So, to me, that's a bit of a source of pride for me as a Lions fan that they're even wanted to go back again. But kind of to what Gabby said, it's not about what I want. It's not about what I want to see. It's not about what would necessarily be more interesting for the network. It's about what would be good for the team. And I don't want that bad Hard Knocks juju around the Detroit Lions, because I gave you the numbers. More often than not, if you're on Hard Knocks, you miss the playoffs. Whether that's correlation or causation or not, it doesn't matter.
How about this? Force the Jets to do it, because they're probably going to get sent home early anyway. just force the Jets to do it. Like they're going to win a playoff game. That's it. You mean force the Jets?
You mean the AFC the AFC East champion 2023 New York Jets?
Well, they're not winning the AFC East, so just force them to do it anyway. Sam, how about that? What's wrong with that? Aaron Rodgers, he has never done Hard Knocks, and he still falls short. So just do Hard Knocks. It sounds pretty simple to me, right?
The thing is let's say they do Hard Knocks with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers wins the East, wins the AFC Championship, fucking makes it to the Super Bowl. Do you know how many clips from that Hard Knocks scene with Aaron Rodgers are going to run for years and years and years? And I'm not trying to have that. With Aaron Rodgers, he'd put the cameras on him with that chance. They'll probably beat the Bills, beat the Dolphins, make it to the playoffs, and he'd be a fucking hero. That's the last thing I want. So I'm not even risking it. Throw it to the Bears. They're not making the playoffs regardless. It'll be a fun little cute story if they do something. Be like a Make-A-Wish, like, oh, look what you did.
But it'd be boring.
You think so?
Like, think about a national audience. Like, for you as a Lions fan, you might enjoy the Bears. But from a national perspective, who the hell is tuning into the Bears and with Matt Eberflus?
I mean, I think
who's doing it?
It's with Matt Eberflus. Like, it's going to be a shit show during the training.
Oh, wait, I know why.
Oh,
Matt Eberflus.
He is a Toledo native.
He's from Toledo.
About 3 minutes from me.
See, this all goes back to him being from Toledo, doesn't it? Because you can't argue that the New York Jets would definitely be more entertaining. And we already know they're going to get upset in the playoffs, Sam. I mean, so just have them do it. Just have them do it. Or the Commanders. The Commanders would be awesome too, because we already know the disaster that organization is, and then you sprinkle in Ron Rivera. I'm all for it. Well, Commanders or Jets for me.
Well, first of all, the only way the New York Jets are going to lose in the playoffs is to the Kansas City Chiefs, who are then going to go on and win the Super Bowl, because they are the preeminent dynasty of this generation, and that is just factual. Look at the data, look at the numbers. Nobody comes close. But when it comes to the Jets, it's not just Aaron Rodgers. I think the whole Quinnen Williams saga would be entertaining to watch, how he ingratiates himself with Garrett Wilson. I think Sauce Gardner could end up being an interesting character because he stepped right into the league on day one and was first-team All-Pro, which never happens in the history of the NFL.
Dog. Yeah.
The New York Jets, I just think they would be very, very entertaining. The Commanders, you mentioned, they've got some interesting pieces, but
it's a disaster over there.
Watch Sam Howell take practice reps and
Baker Mayfield 2.0.
I mean, and again, who knows? It's my interest would be solely on the Commanders as an organization, how they operate. Ron Rivera behind the scenes. I don't care about Sam Howell. I really don't. Aaron Rodgers now I'm interested because I know what I'm getting with Aaron Rodgers is very simple. I'm getting pettiness, I'm getting the drama, and I'm getting New York. So who knows with the Jets and Robert Saleh? You talk about Dan and being the everyone's favorite last year in Hard Knocks. Robert Saleh would be awesome in Hard Knocks.
100%.
So you got Robert Saleh, you got Aaron Rodgers, who's a diva, and I would pay to watch Aaron Rodgers every single day just to watch him on reality TV. So I'm all in. I'm all in on the Jets doing it. Force the Jets to do it. I don't give a damn what they say. The Lions, they don't have to do it because they just did it. The Jets, you got no excuses. Just man up and do it, Aaron Rodgers. Well, you're going to lose in the playoffs anyway.
Well, we'll see about that. Like I said, to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I will be 100% okay with that at Arrowhead. But another storyline that I think could potentially be interesting when it comes to the New York Jets, I don't know what kind of a personality he is, but what about the return of Breece Hall from injury? Because he was a guy who
that's true too.
I thought was on track to possibly being the NFL Rookie of the Year or the Offensive Rookie of the Year. And then he got hurt. He just came out of the gate just on fire. And when it comes to ACL injuries, there might still be a little bit of rehab having to be done even during training camp, and to just see his determination and see how he feels that he can bounce back. Because I'll tell you what, no matter what you guys say about Aaron Rodgers, every single one of those offensive players is much more excited to play with Aaron Rodgers than Zach Wilson, Mike White, and the corpse of Joe Flacco. That's just facts. The offense is going to be better.
How better is the question?
I said that they're going to win the division. So,
how many games do you got to win the division? Let's just get it all on the table now.
12.
You think they'll go 12-5?
They won 7 with that terrible laundry list of quarterbacks because they have good pieces. And Breece Hall was out for a lot of the season. The Jets roster is stacked.
It's a good roster. Good defense. Got wide receivers. They don't have a great O-line to protect your man Aaron Rodgers, though. But we'll see.
12 wins might be coming back.
12 wins for Sam Flannel for the Jets. Listen, I don't know what you're smoking, Sam, and you like Aaron Rodgers. That's your guy. I'm going to back off a little bit on the Jets, and I haven't been as high on them as you have. I'm still with the Bills. I think the Bills are the team to beat, or Miami I would put over the Jets. But regardless, do it, New York. Do it, please. Selfishly, I need to see this. I want to see this. I want Sam Flannel to see this. It would be great for television. It would. And again, I want to recap the poll we have. What team should do Hard Knocks? 168 votes. Lions have 52% of the votes. You guys really want the Lions to do Hard Knocks. All I'm asking for, or telling you, is be careful what you ask for. Because as selfish as fans tend to be, and I want to watch the Lions on Hard Knocks too, I just don't think it's worth it. I really don't. Force Aaron to do it. Force Aaron to do it. Who cares if he gets upset early in the playoffs? It happens all the time. So you might as well do Hard Knocks and entertain the people. So there's that. We're going to go to break. When we get back, we got to bring up Sam Flannel's quote-unquote beef. I just say it's beef with David Montgomery, but it's not really beef. It's just something that Sam wanted to bring up about David Montgomery, and we're all going to react to it. I don't know exactly what it's about, but I'm ready, Sam.
I don't know what turn this is going to take.
But before we do that, I got to tell you about our friends at SMA, the sports marketing agency, helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Detroit sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Your childhood may be over, but playtime is not. Outdoor Equipment Company is your source for outdoor power equipment, sales, service, and parts. Carrying top brands such as Bad Boy, LS Tractor, Stihl, and much more. Servicing the Great Lakes region with locations in Metro Detroit and Greater Lansing. For more information, visit them at OutdoorEquipCo.com. Outdoor Equipment Co., your power equipment playground. We're back here in the Morning Woodward Show, Woodward Sports Network. Subscribe if you haven't already to our YouTube channel if you're watching. But if you're on the website, guys, latest articles, updates, show clips, and merchandise, which JB was rocking the Woodward Tigers merchandise yesterday. Go check it out. But if you're not watching live, it's okay. You can download our podcast, leave a 5-star review on any platform you listen to, whether it's Spotify or Apple Music. Go check us out. Leave us a 5-star review. But Sam Flannel, the floor is yours. David Montgomery, talk to us. What's on your mind?
All right, so when David Montgomery was picked up in the offseason from the Chicago Bears in free agency to kind of coincide with losing Jamal Williams, I, of course, was happy, and I do think that he is an upgrade over Jamal Williams slightly. But the way that people around this network, around this town have been talking about the David Montgomery signing as opposed to Jamal Williams, you would have think that the Lions just signed the best Bears running back since Walter Payton and that Jamal Williams was a tomato can who ran behind the greatest offensive line in the history of the NFL. Let me just give you some numbers on David Montgomery during his time with the Chicago Bears, because this doesn't sound like Walter Payton to me. And I think this has to be put into perspective, even though I think that he is going to be better.
Oh,
in 4 seasons with the Chicago Bears, David Montgomery had 1,000 all-purpose yards all 4 seasons, but only 1,000 yards rushing, 1 season 1,070. And in 2 of those seasons, he had less than 4 yards per carry, which I knock a lot of other running backs for doing that. I knock Najee Harris for doing that, and that's why I think he's very, very mid. So I got to be fair to David Montgomery. 2 seasons under 4 yards per carry. And not only that, in 2021, David Montgomery, 3.8 yards per carry. Khalil Herbert, his teammate, 4.2. And that, you know what, Lucas, I see what you're doing.
Hold on. Now let him talk. Let him finish, because I'll address all this.
Lucas, I see what you're doing. 2021, it gets even astronomically worse. Everybody talks about how the Bears just had this horrible, horrible offensive line. How could any running back in the history of NFL have elite production behind this piss-poor offensive line? David Montgomery in 2022, 4 yards per carry. Khalil Herbert, 5.7. That's pretty damn good. And not to mention Justin Fields, although it's a little different. He was one of the best threats rushing the football of any player in all of the NFL. And let me just say this to give some perspective. The production that they lost with Jamal Williams is a lot better than you guys think that he's getting credit for. Last season, he was 11th in rushing yards with 1,066. David Montgomery had a little over 800, by the way. And a whopping first in rushing touchdowns with 17, which is also the Lions' single-season record. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't always a huge Jamal Williams guy. I wasn't a huge fan of his antics. I think he got a little bit overrated in the offseason. But one thing that I can't deny is that last season he was durable and he produced. And this idea that David Montgomery is just going to come in and be this clear and present upgrade over Jamal Williams by a mile, I think that's a little bit false. I think he's going to be slightly better. He brings a slightly more different skill set, more catching the football out of the backfield, but it's not that big of a difference than you think. And I could see the David Montgomery signing being a little bit underwhelming.
So let me just, and I was listening. I wanted to let you get all your points out. And I want to address some of the things you said, because for Jamal Williams, just to bring into context, for his career in Green Bay, he was typically a change of pace back. He was the power back. He was someone who shared a backfield with Aaron Jones. But when he got to the Lions last year, or 2 years ago, but really last year when he had the breakout season with over 1,000 yards, you know how many carries he had in that season? 262. That's more carries than David Montgomery's had in his entire career. When he had 247 in 2020, he had more yards than Jamal did last year. That was for a team in Chicago with, and whatever you want to say, it's a worse offensive line by far. And the other thing that I think is significant is who was his quarterback? Because that's a real thing, too. Because if teams look at the Chicago Bears offense and they look at who their quarterback is and what their offense looks like, it's not a surprise to anybody that you got to shut down David Montgomery. It's not like it's a stacked offense. And the Lions' offense wasn't stacked, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the best offensive lines in the league. Jared Goff, who isn't elite, but he's still a top 10, 11 quarterback, somebody that you have to respect to some degree. Like, David Montgomery's never had the tools around him that Jamal Williams had. So the reason why, and I think people are higher with David Montgomery, is you have the Lions offensive line now. You have an OC like Ben Johnson, who David Montgomery's never had in Chicago, but also he's got more talent around him. So in my opinion, I mean, you look at a running back in David Montgomery who, besides Nick Chubb last year, he made a lot of dudes miss. I think he was number one or tied with Nick Chubb in broken tackles for running back. So again, He's a beast. He's a better complete back than Khalil Herbert, I would say, right now. Khalil in a smaller sample size had more yards per carry, but also David Montgomery's a hell of a receiver, too. He can also catch passes out of the backfield. So I think David Montgomery brings a lot more to the table than you're giving him credit for, but I get where you're coming from, where there's some concern. But you can't deny David Montgomery in this situation with the Lions is the best situation he's had his entire career.
That is also fair, and I do think David Montgomery is a better back. I just think the discourse has gotten a little bit toxic regarding the whole David Montgomery is the next great Lions running back, and Jamal Williams was complete and utter trash. And I'm saying this as somebody who was not always a Jamal Williams fan, as I mentioned before, but I can't deny what he did last season. My thing is, and Lucas, I definitely want to get your response too to everything that we've said.
Yes.
Why is it that we all say that David Montgomery just was great at breaking tackles last year and throughout a lot of his Chicago Bears career, which by the numbers is true, but why was he, without a shadow of the doubt, by the numbers, the third best rushing threat on his team last year? It's not even close. Khalil Herbert, I know it was on a lesser sample size, but he averaged 5.7 yards per carry. That would be best of all time if he did it over the course of a career. Obviously a shorter sample size, but still, David Montgomery, he's been one of those guys that a lot of his career has taken quite a few carries to get a lot of yards. I think his career high is 4.3, and even last year, one of the years that he was above 4, he was at exactly 4. I'm just saying, I think that David Montgomery is a little bit of fool's gold, and I think his value with Jamal Williams is more comparable than you think.
Yeah, and I think the difference is, too, with Jahmyr Gibbs is that's not his role. He's not the home run hitter. That's not necessarily what he's going to be. Jahmyr's that guy, and DeAndre was that guy, or supposed to be that guy last year until he was banged up. But Jamal, it's the change of pace, two backs they have, and it's the same thing with Jahmyr and David Montgomery. And I want to read this stat. Per fantasy points data, Montgomery was tied for the highest forced missed tackle rate among all running backs with 125-plus carries with 0.31. The player he was tied with was Nick Chubb of the Cleveland Browns. So I wanted to clarify that stat. But I do think it really depends on what your expectations for David Montgomery are. I don't think David Montgomery is going to come out and go off for 1,400 yards. But I definitely think if Jamal Williams can get 1,000 behind this offensive line with more carries than Montgomery's had in his entire career, then I think he's going to get the same thing, at least similar numbers. Because a lot of Jamal's touchdowns came from, the 1 or 2 yard line.
That's fine, but 17 rushing touchdowns don't just grow on trees. I understand that. I even nicknamed him last season. At times, even me, as somebody who's now propping him up, I often nicknamed him the goal line touchdown merchant. But that's 17. That's not nothing. I think it would actually be... I don't even know if David Montgomery will, as an individual, replace Jamal Williams' production from last season. I could see him having a few more yards.
Will.
He's not rushing for 17 touchdowns. No chance in hell.
Well, that, again, breaking Barry's record, I didn't expect him to do that either. I don't think he'll break that record, but you can't. He's going to have double-digit touchdowns and over 1,000 yards.
And that wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. All right.
Fair.
Well, Lucas.
But you know who else did that? Jamal Williams. I don't know what
still better than Jamal Williams.
There's a lot
Lucas,
to unpack
your
here.
thoughts on it?
There's a lot of just to unpack here. So let's start it off here. You were talking earlier about how much you like Breece Hall.
Yes.
Iowa State back. David Montgomery at Iowa State did everything that Breece Hall was doing. You could maybe not as explosive as Breece Hall, but he has the same skill set as Breece Hall. So now he gets drafted. He goes to Chicago, which is always just an absolute dumpster fire. And then so let's now compare David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. These guys' usage was completely different. David Montgomery's running in between the tackles way more, and there's nobody on the outside. So when you have Khalil Herbert on the sideline, no receivers, they're going to stack the box. They're going to be focusing on David Montgomery because he's a harder running back to bring down. And that's why Justin Fields' yards per carry is so high, because that's not the first read. And when he does, he's the more fast playmaker. But when you need a bruiser, David Montgomery is exactly what you want, because I couldn't tell you how many times I watched Jamal Williams, a ball hit his hands, and David Montgomery is going to turn those into more yards, more broken tackles, and more production. I don't think David Montgomery is going to be this, like Jeff said, 1,300-yard back.
No.
But if Jamal Williams could do something here, David Montgomery can do everything Jamal Williams is doing just based off his skill set. Fuck the talent. The Lions offense could take a small step back from the offensive line standpoint. I still would expect David Montgomery to produce more. Jamal Williams is the equivalent, in my opinion, to like a Baltimore Ravens Mark Ingram. And David Montgomery, he's truly like, if Jahmyr Gibbs goes down, I have no worry about David Montgomery being a 3-down back. Jamal Williams, if he was a 3-down back, I'm like, wow, we're playing 1980s football right now.
Right.
And that's just, this whole offense got more dynamic. And you got Jamal Williams, which is quicker, breaks more tackles, and he can catch. So, yeah, like the David Montgomery signing is perfect, especially for $6 million. Give me that all day of the week.
Yeah, and that's the comparison I made a couple weeks ago, was that New Orleans Saints backfield. And I'm not saying that, Gibbs is Kamara right now, or Mark Ingram is David Montgomery, but it's that change of pace they have. And I although you have some concerns, Sam, I think we can both agree that, I don't know if you agree that David Montgomery is better than Jamal Williams. I just want to clarify that.
Better, but not eons better.
Maybe not. I wouldn't say he's eons better, but they definitely upgraded their backfield from last year. Would you agree with that? DeAndre Swift to Jamal.
Of course, with all of that in conjunction.
And you can't deny that the situation David was in Chicago, at least for opposing defenses, it's going to be much harder to game plan for David Montgomery now with the Lions compared to when he was with the Bears.
Of course, and the Lions' offensive line is clearly better than the Bears' offensive line.
And the scheme he's in now is much more favorable with Ben Johnson.
And that's fair. And Lucas, you made a lot of fair points, and I understand it. It sounds like that David Montgomery was just the sacrificial lamb, had to get all of the tough yards so that Khalil Herbert and Justin Fields could eat. And there might be something to that, and maybe that would help Jahmyr Gibbs. Maybe Jahmyr Gibbs can maybe get more touches on the outside if Jamal. Yeah, go ahead, Lucas.
Yeah, I have one more point too. I think everything that you need to go look at is when David Montgomery signed with the Bears. If you went on any Bears social media, every Bears fan was like, how did we just lose Monty? Because they know that he was the guy that would do all the dirty work, while Khalil Herbert would catch that screen on 3rd and 21, take it to the 40 yards. Like Khalil Herbert, a lot of his rushing yards were just he was a 3rd down back, so you're expecting the offense to pass. The box is going to be way more open, so Khalil Herbert, who's a more twitchy back, picks up yards quicker. But when you need a guy to bruise, which the Lions need because we have Jahmyr Gibbs, it's David Montgomery. He's one of the best ones to do it. So just look at Bears social media. That's all you got to do.
Look at this comment, too, before we go to break. Chuck Brewer always coming in when he matters most. How could it be an upgrade last year had Swift the NFC leading rusher?
Okay, that was a wrong take, all right?
Okay.
That was a wrong take.
I also want to shout out Big Show Picks in the chat who said hashtag Let's Go Sid.
Yeah. Lucas, you're getting some love today.
Yeah.
Hey.
At the expense of me, by the way.
Well,
he had some audio after all the technical issues.
Yes, you had some audio mishaps. You took the bruising, but he came out stronger than ever. He faced adversity.
I'm like David Montgomery.
Yeah, well,
What did you say before, Lucas, when you were facing all the technical issues?
Oh, God tests the strongest soldiers.
There you go.
And that's what he did with David Montgomery in Chicago. Sent him to probably the toughest situation. Reward him, send him in a running back heaven in Detroit. So Monty's season is loading.
Okay. You know what? Well, it's haircut season is loading. How about that, Sam Flannel? Can you tell us about our friends over at Lady Jane's?
Absolutely, because, Lady Jane's is obviously the best place to get a haircut. Every time I need a haircut, I go to one of the amazing stylists. Doesn't matter which one. They always do a great job and always have me looking as good as I do every single day, even sitting next to Jeff. Iafrate, walk in anytime, open 7 days a week. It's wicked awesome.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
We're back here, the Morning Woodward Show, woodwardsports.com. Thank you guys for sticking with us. We're cruising right now into the second hour of the show. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the stream, chime into the YouTube chat thread. That's where all the viewers are right now. But if you can't watch live, it's okay. You can go back and leave a 5-star review, download our podcast on any platform you listen to, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music. And if you're watching on our website, don't forget latest news, articles, updates, show clips, and our very sweet merchandise, which we're dropping actively, is also on the website. So go check that out. But Sam Flannel and Lucas, you could pull this up. Do you have the graphic that I sent? Okay, so
I'll get it.
The NFLPA came out with this, I guess they call it the 2023 Rising Stars list. And essentially, this projects which veterans plus rookies are poised to have breakout seasons, gain fan support, and ultimately rank among the top sellers of all officially licensed player merchandise. Now, what I take away from that is, I guess, it's all kind of mixed together with jersey sales and where fans are spending their money at in terms of NFL stars or up-and-coming stars. And there's 2 lists. There's a veterans list and a rookies list. And I want you guys to see it first. So here's the veterans list. Okay, now these are who they rank. Again, and what they take into consideration is, and it's kind of a complicated equation here. It's rookies that are poised to have breakout seasons, gain fan support, and ultimately rank among the top sellers in all officially licensed player merchandise. And it's rookies and veterans. So in this list, they have Brock Purdy, Garrett Wilson, Tony Pollard, Breece Hall, George Pickens, Chris Olave, Patrick Surtain, Miles Sanders, DJ Moore, and Jordan Love. Okay, now the question I have is, where the hell is Aiden Hutchinson? Why is he not here?
That is the one that really stood out to me. It looks like this list is more offense heavy, but they do have Patrick Surtain on here, who does deserve to be on the list, by the way. He was first team All-Pro in just his second season in the NFL. Going to be one of the best corners in the NFL for years to come, a future gold jacket guy. But Aiden Hutchinson, he was the one that really stood out to me as should be on a list like this, but isn't. Because with Aiden Hutchinson, he led all rookies in sacks last season. And that was obviously a huge deal. But with Aiden Hutchinson, I've said it before and I'll say it again. On this up-and-coming Lions team, which finished the season strong, which is one of the sexier teams in all the NFL moving forward, and the betting favorite to win the NFC North, I think Aiden Hutchinson is going to be the face of this franchise when they win big, in a similar way that J.J. Watt was with the Houston Texans when they started winning and when he broke out. I'm not saying that Aiden Hutchinson is as good as J.J. Watt, because J.J. Watt during his peak was one of the best football players I've ever seen, won 3 Defensive Player of the Years in 5 seasons. But Aiden Hutchinson, when it comes to his personality, a Michigan man going to the Detroit Lions and help build up a team from the ashes, which led them to get the number 2 overall pick to win the division. I think Aiden Hutchinson will have one of the more popular selling jerseys in 2023, and I predict him to have 13.5 sacks. So Aiden Hutchinson will be on, his value will skyrocket this year, even though it's already, I think, pretty high.
Yeah, I would assume so. I thought so for a defensive end who, again, led all rookies in sacks and had more picks than any other defensive, I guess, besides the secondary players, had more picks than anybody else. So what Aiden did last year, I would have thought would be enough to be on this list. And I want to go through the people who are on this list. Lucas, can you throw the graphic up? We'll walk through it. Jordan Love, we'll start at 10. So if I'm trying to understand why, because there's always a why. I got to find out why, like D-Mac always says. Why is Jordan Love here? Okay, because you see it and you're like, what the hell? The rising star, what has he done? So, again, I'm going to read what they have and what factors into players being here. It says, rookies poised to have a breakout season, which, That's for veterans and rookies who are poised to have a breakout season. So I guess that's part of it, which I don't know if I agree with that one. Gain fan support and ultimately rank among the top sellers in all officially licensed player merchandise. You see that ending? Ultimately rank among the top sellers in all officially licensed player merchandise. You know what this means? A lot of Packers fans are buying Jordan Love jerseys. So I get that part of it, but if we're just predicting who's going to have a breakout season, I don't know how the hell you have Jordan Love, but we'll go to DJ Moore, the newly acquired wide receiver for the Bears. Again, fits that mold, if you're talking about player merchandise being sold. I guess DJ Moore is a new addition in Chicago. Maybe a lot of DJ Moore jerseys are selling, but okay. Miles Sanders, why? Why?
You know what? I don't mean to interrupt you, but Miles Sanders, that's the one on this list. I mean, obviously Jordan Love, we don't know what he is. Nobody really knows if he's good or not. DJ Moore, I think this is a big season for him, whether he becomes one of the 10 best wide receivers in the NFL or whether he just proves to be one of the next tier guys who's good but never going to make the Hall of Fame or anything like that. But Miles Sanders, is there any flash or sex appeal factor to Miles Sanders? Ooh. I mean, when it comes to NFL, of course. Because Miles Sanders, he ran behind the best offensive line in the NFL, obviously had 1,200 yards. He's not really that fun to watch. He's going to Carolina. I think his numbers will, I think, take a bit of a dive, unless they block like they did against the Lions last year for all of the games, which obviously they won't. But Miles Sanders, there's just nothing exciting about Miles Sanders. Have you ever met anybody who's like, I want to get a Miles Sanders jersey? He's just
never.
He's this. He's a milquetoast in terms of his style of play.
And you'd think too that at least in Carolina that the biggest attraction to the Carolina Panthers would be Bryce Young, and we'll get to that list shortly. But these are the veterans that they think rising stars. I don't know, again, whatever quantifies that, and I went through it. A lot of it is top sellers in all officially licensed player merchandise. So Patrick Surtain, I'm not going to be mad. I love Patrick Surtain. Chris Olave, no question marks there. George Pickens, I understand why they got George. Breece Hall, I get he flashed a lot of talent, but he was still injured. Like Aiden, I don't get it. Yeah. And again, this is why I'm wearing this shirt. Detroit versus everybody. Tony Pollard, America's team.
Running back on the
they
Dallas
always
Cowboys.
sell. They always sell.
He had over 1,000 yards last season.
So I get Tony Pollard, even though I might not agree with it. Garrett Wilson, again, I understand that philosophy there. And then Brock Purdy, again, if the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, a lot of jerseys are going to be sold. With his storyline.
It's not like anyone bought his jersey at the beginning of the year, so they're probably buying it more going into this next season. But what I want to bring up is last year's list.
Oh, you have last year's list?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Hutch was number 4 on the list for the rookies. So my thought process with this is, did so many people buy his merchandise last year and there was a spike that now everybody has Hutchinson stuff and nobody needs to buy it now that he's going into his second year? If the majority, I want to know how these categories weigh out in this
Was
list.
any of the players on this list on that list?
Let me read it. Let me read this out. So I'll read out the rookies. So we have Kenny Pickett, Drake London. I'm going top to bottom. Kenny Pickett, Drake London, Sauce Gardner, Hutchinson, Garrett Wilson. He was number 5 on the rookies list last year. Olave, Kenneth Walker, the third, Willis, and then Desmond Ridder. And then if you're going into the veterans, you have Diggs, you have A.J. Brown, you have Renfro.
Oh, Hunter Renfro.
Bomb. Cam Akers.
Okay, I want to stop. Garrett Wilson made the list, and he's on this list?
Wait. DeAndre Swift, it was number 7 on that list.
Wow. Maybe I had something to do. No, I'm kidding.
You probably bought. How many DeAndre Swift jerseys did you buy? You might have bought the entire inventory for him to make that list.
But I'm thinking about like how many the jerseys that I see when I've gone to games and when I'm out and about during Lions season. I'm seeing majority like Hutchinson jerseys and golf jerseys. I'm not seeing that many Swift jerseys.
I don't get the Garrett Wilson. I mean, I get he won Offensive Rookie of the Year, but damn. Like, what did Aiden Hutchinson? He wasn't no slouch either.
No.
I mean, almost double-digit sacks his rookie year. I don't know. I'm shocked. But I want to pull up the rookies this season. And, Lucas, you could pull that up. Let's see this list. And we'll check this one out. Anthony Richardson comes in at number 1, which, I mean, that makes sense.
No surprise
new
there.
quarterback in Indianapolis. Bijan Robinson, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Will Anderson, Zay Flowers, Jalen Hyatt, Jordan Addison, and Joey Porter. So the first thing, I mean, you see when you look at this list, a lot of wide receivers. A lot of wide receivers. And again, when I look at the rookies list too, and I get it, Jack Campbell isn't flashy. You know, Jahmyr Gibbs, I would think you could put him on this list over a couple of these players. But Jalen Hyatt, like, this has to be purely off the market they're in. Because if you're for the New York Giants, they get Jalen Hyatt. I bet a ton of jerseys sold of Jalen Hyatt. So that's the only explanation, Sam. Because if we're going off talent and who's up and coming and who's projected to have great careers, like, did Jahmyr Gibbs just disappear?
I would have put Jahmyr Gibbs on this list 100%, just because I think we talked about it yesterday. If he has more receiving yards this season than, say, a Sam Laporta, but also provides them a spark in the running game as well, particularly with big plays and just being a playmaker, I think not only is he going to be productive, but he's going to be exciting, and Lions fans are going to want to buy his jersey. You mentioned Jalen Hyatt. To me, Jalen Hyatt has the potential to be one of the most underdrafted players in this draft class. I personally would have taken him above Zay Flowers in the first round, but maybe that's just me. You know, though, who I think can easily be shot to number 1 on this list?
Who?
None other than the guy that I think will break the rookie sack record, Will Anderson.
Will Anderson, baby.
Will Anderson is going to be a stud this season. Like I said, break the rookie sack record, which was 14.5 by Javon Curse. He is one of the best rookie edge rushing prospects I've ever seen. And the only reason that I think he got any sort of, I think people were nitpicking him a little bit coming into this draft, because if he would have come out in the draft before, he would have been drafted number 1 over Trayvon Walker and Aiden Hutchinson, and he should have been the number 1 overall draft pick in this last draft, except for the fact that the Carolina Panthers needed a quarterback in Bryce Young, which is perfectly understandable. I think Will Anderson is going to be a star. He's certainly going to be better than Anthony Richardson, especially if he has to start right away. I don't think that's a good idea for someone who is so raw.
Yeah.
And he went a 53.8% completion percentage in college, like Anthony Richardson.
And I want to get to some of these comments too. Todd says Sauce was an all-pro. Don't think he qualifies as a rising star. Yeah, I mean, he's here. He arrived. So you're right, Todd. Chuck Brewer says, so then Love's jersey should have been a great seller back to when he was drafted. Don't see many Love jerseys, and the backup QB is the favorite player on the team. Well, you got to think too, now that it's officially Love, it's the Love era, I think a lot more jerseys are selling at this point.
Also, that's just like, you think of last names, like that's kind of a cool last name.
Yeah, like we talked about this yesterday. Grady Dick, Hendon Hooker, all these guys. I'm buying jerseys, man.
And then, take it to the more romantic side, Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, you know what?
Hey, but you know what? To be fair about Jordan Love, not to go off on this again, but Jordan Love, they are coming off of Brett Favre and then Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if there's some marketability to that. It's pretty. You're pretty lucky.
Well, the odds would tell me that he can't be another Hall of Famer.
I agree.
Like,
and
the odds,
like
you can't go Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and nobody knows if he's good or not, honestly.
But you know my other problem with this list? So I'm looking at the rookies like this year, and I looked them up on the NFL Shop website, and I'm comparing the amount of merchandise that they have available. And the amount of merchandise available for Gibbs versus for Anthony Richardson is drastically different. They have many more things that you can buy for Richardson. So how are you comparing this if there's more options for Richardson to buy, to purchase, if we're getting down to the nitty gritty, than Gibbs? Gibbs just really has jerseys on there where Richardson already has a bunch of merchandise.
He's got a whole catalog.
Yeah,
I mean,
his shirts, women's shirts, long sleeve, baby tees. He has, helmet replicas, signed footballs. Yes, and Gibbs has jerseys, a football, and a couple helmets, and that's it. He has 3, 6, 9 items available on the NFL Shop. 3, 6, 9, 12,
I mean,
15,
to be
18.
fair, he is their
He's like
franchise
close
quarterback.
to
So
35, 40 items on the shop.
Well,
So that's not comparable.
Well, that's smart. Because if you know how the NFLPA measures these lists, screw it. Come out with a coffee mug.
Yeah, and
just do everything you can.
For the record, I don't think that Jahmyr Gibbs should be number 1 or anything like that. But on the list, certainly, and I can't believe it's taken me so long to notice this. Joey Porter Jr. at 10 over Jahmyr Gibbs. And for the record, I like Joey Porter Jr. a lot as a prospect. I wanted the Lions to draft him until they obviously revamped their secondary in the offseason with free agents. But As a corner?
But here we go. But his father played for the Steelers.
You know what? That's a great point.
Father
Jeff.
played for the Steelers.
That's a great
now
point.
it's the junior. So again, maybe that's. I'm trying to think of how fans are thinking here. But no doubt in my mind, although people are going to continue to underrate Lions players, I will never underrate a defense like Guardian Alarm. Because, guys, let me tell you this. Guardian Alarm, they got customized solutions from real experts, 24/7 professional monitoring, and technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT today for more information.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here at WoodwardSports.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're watching on the website, be sure to check out our clips, previous live shows, articles, all the sports reporting coverage that we have going on with the teams and our merchandise. Follow us on all social media at Woodward Sports. Like and subscribe on YouTube. And if you're listening, wherever you listen to your podcast, download this episode and leave a 5-star review. But guys, what I want to know is how much pressure Troy Weaver is under.
Well, especially after getting Monty Williams, a little less. I mean, the big pressure for me, and I've said this multiple times on the show, the most important decision for Troy and Tom, I think Tom is included in this, obviously, he has to sign the check ultimately at the end of the day, is finding the right head coach. Besides drafting Cade, I think Cade was the other most important decision he's made thus far, is hitting on your #1 overall draft pick. The next one was hiring the right head coach. I think they've done both of those things. You got Cade, you got Monty Williams. The next thing is, what are you going to do with the money that you have in free agency? And who are you taking at 5? And what are you doing? Are you moving the pick? Are you staying there and taking a player? Those are the other two things that Troy has to do and has to nail and has to get correct. You can't go spend dumb money. You can't go spend it on the wrong players or the players that aren't the right fit. But also at 5, you got to hit on whoever this pick is at 5. Like, you look at dynasties and just great teams in the NBA, teams that have won championships. Typically, a lot of them are built through the draft, especially in markets like Detroit. There's not too many instances where in 2004 where you can acquire basically your entire starting lineup, draft Tayshaun, and say, let's go win a championship. It's a little different. So they're trying to build their foundation. And that 5th overall pick is part of that foundation. So they can't botch this pick. Troy cannot botch this pick. And I know it's funny. People tell me Troy's on the hot seat. I've heard that before Monty Williams was hired. And I thought it was the most ridiculous thing ever. He's not on the hot seat. I think he could be if you miss this pick, miss the head coach. If you hired Kevin Ollie, you missed on the 5th pick, you spend money on bogus players, then we could start talking about it. But right now, Troy's doing a great job of turning this roster around. Tom mentioned it at the press conference. But Troy, I mean, every GM's under a lot of pressure to build a contender. That's not anything new. Like, Troy has to get these things correct. And if he doesn't, there will be consequences. But we can't deny that Troy's put the Pistons in a better position, Sam, than they've been in quite some time.
You think? All right, so to me, Troy Weaver should be under an enormous amount of pressure, and that doesn't disregard everything that he's done. When it comes to two of the biggest reasons why they haven't won more in the past 3 years, because in Troy Weaver's tenure as a Detroit Pistons GM, they've won 60 games total, which is obviously terrible. There's some context to that, but I'm going to give you a couple pieces of context that one of them might be Troy Weaver's fault. One, obviously, the injury to Cade Cunningham. We all think that last season they would have won, at least 7 or 8 more games?
Yeah,
not been anywhere.
Probably,
maybe like 25 or something like that. They wouldn't have been the worst record in the league, and that is for sure fair. And the fact that he was out, that definitely deflates his total win total a lot, and that's also fair. But you know what else is also fair when it comes to Troy Weaver, and one of the things that I think has slowed down this rebuild that doesn't often get talked about enough is Troy Weaver, as of right now, completely blew the 2020 first-round draft. That's just facts. First pick overall, Killian Hayes. He still can't shoot 40% from the floor or 30% from three. And that, to me, I don't care how good your playmaking is and how good your defense is, which I keep hearing is elite. You are hurting your team if you are shooting that poorly, especially at the volume. Saddiq Bey, traded, gone, he out. Isaiah Stewart did not develop a three-point shot last year. He was, I thought, in order to be successful as a player and somebody that the Pistons can have on their roster when they're ready to win, Isaiah Stewart needed to be that stretch who could shoot the three. And last year, 32.7% on 4 attempts per game, while also spending much of the season being hurt. So this idea that Troy Weaver has just been this exemplary GM so far, I'll admit he's hit on his last 3 picks, and I think the core of Cade, Ivy, and Duren is a good one moving forward. And the fact that they hired Monty Williams, that is a huge step in the right direction. But that 2020 draft, you can't just gloss over. And also, who did they pass up on? They passed up on Tyrese Halliburton by taking Killian Hayes, and they passed up on Tyrese Maxey by taking Saddiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart. That was a bad draft. I think he'll get it together. I think that they'll win at least 30 games this season, but that 2020 draft is going to haunt him for a while until the Pistons actually start showing tangible progress in the win column.
So, a lot to unpack there. Okay, a lot to unpack.
You patiently let him undo himself.
I wanted to let Sam get it all out. I'm here for you, buddy. All right, but let me just say this, okay? That first draft, and you said the words, it could haunt him for a while. What does that mean?
That means that every single pick was bad. Nobody is going to be contributing.
Every single pick
was bad. Killian Hayes has been a disaster so far. I don't care what you say.
Killian Hayes, I'll give you.
Thank you. It's about time.
But
come to my side.
He got Saddiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart damn near close to 20. What was it? 16 and 18, I believe it was. Like, middle of the first round picks. Isaiah Stewart is a serviceable player. He's a player that I think teams are calling the Pistons about him, Sam. He's not just some bum.
I'm not saying that they should be called the Pistons. That's why I said I'd pretty much give away Isaiah Stewart for pretty much anything.
Well, this is thank goodness you're not running the Pistons, because you can't just give away Isaiah Stewart for nothing. Oh. And Saddiq Bey, as much as you want to say about Saddiq Bey, I wasn't the biggest Saddiq Bey fan. You flipped him for James Wiseman.
Okay, and what has James Wiseman given you for sure? Obviously, he showed some bright spots, but we don't know if that two-big lineup can work, and Saddiq Bey isn't even on the team anymore, bro.
But I understand that, but you still flipped him for a number 2 overall pick in James Wiseman, who still showed a lot last year.
He was all right.
Let's not act like Saddiq, they're just some bums. In the NBA, it's not like the NFL draft where you draft in the middle of the first round and you'll find a Hall of Fame player. Typically, and after that first 10, the hit rate on those picks go down significantly. There's not too many Tyrese Maxeys, Jordan Pooles. Like, I know there's Giannis's who come in the middle of the first round. Jokic is in the second, but that's not a common thing. Like, for Troy to get Saddiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart, it's impressive. I mean, I get the Killian Hayes one. I do. I mean, people are frustrated by that. I understand that. But who's to say if you take Tyrese Halliburton, you might not get Cade.
So what?
And then you might not get Ivy.
So what? I'm not playing that game. I'm not playing that game.
So you'll take Tyrese Halliburton over Cade and potentially Ivy.
That is all hypotheticals. All I know is that Killian Hayes has been an absolute bum so far as the number 7 overall pick who can't shoot.
But you got Cade.
Okay,
so that fixes that scenario.
But they still were a 17-win team last season. And I get it. I think they're going to be better, and I think they would have been better with a healthy Cade Cunningham. All I'm saying is this season, we need to see tangible improvement in the win column. We can't see another year where they're hoping to win the lottery and get the number 1 overall pick. And I get it. Who they pick in the draft will have a lot to do with it. I think there's some good options, or if they decide to flip that pick. I'm just saying that Troy Weaver, to me, is a step below in terms of Detroit GMs. He's many tiers below, I think, Brad Holmes and Steve Yzerman so far. He's made some good moves, and his last 3 picks have been good, we think. Like I said, that 2020 draft, I think much lower of it than I think you do.
Well, I'm not super high on it, but I understand the fact that GMs aren't going to hit on 100% of their draft picks. So there's going to be some rough stretches. Now, for Troy, and we know this as Pistons fans, it's been a lot of rough stretches for draft picks, and most of them have been misses. But with Troy Weaver, he's hit on more than he misses. Like, you could bring up Killian Hayes, that's okay, and you might not like Saddiq Bey, but Isaiah Stewart, for close to 20, what was he picked? 16, I believe. To me, that's fair. Like, Isaiah Stewart's turning into a fine player. I'm cool with that. He's not a top. If Isaiah Stewart was taken in the top 7, then we can have a discussion. But he's damn near 20. Like, I don't have an issue with that pick. And the fact that you got Duran, Ivy, and Cade afterwards does make up for it. And
That's
those are
all
3
good.
Foundational players for your franchise, Sam.
That is all good.
So I'm not trying to excuse him and say that Troy Weaver can never do anything wrong. But to look at that 2020 draft and be so hung up on it is the problem. After what he's done after that draft, he's got nothing but talent after that draft. You can't deny it.
Okay, but here's my thing, and I get it. He's done a lot to make up for it, and that is 100% fair. But I think people put 100% of the reason why the Pistons were god-awful last season and had the worst record in the NBA just on Cade Cunningham being hurt. That was a big part of it, without placing any blame whatsoever on that blown 2020 draft. The fact of the matter is Killian Hayes has contributed virtually nothing to this team except bricks and the occasional decent playmaking and defense. Sadiq Bey is no longer on the team. I don't want to hear about he got flipped for an asset in James Wiseman.
Okay, and I want to sorry to interrupt you, but
You're
I
good.
have to address Booner because Booner, I love you to death, but you're so clueless, man. I love you, but you're so clueless.
What the hell did he say?
And I hear this so often, and it really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, Booner says he picked Cade and Ivy, who were chalk picks. Duran was the best move he made. Guys, you can still miss on even the obvious choices. Like, people don't understand that. Just because you have the number 1 overall pick, yes, it was Cade or Jalen Green, excuse me, and that was a legit conversation, Sam.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that because I agree with you and I disagree with Booner. You're always going to get credit for taking the right player. There was a groundswell of Jalen Green people and Evan Mobley people, and at the 5th overall pick, getting Jaden Ivey, I get that he fell to them, but you still have to make the pick. Maybe he could have, he didn't go after Benedict Mathurin, who's also turned out to be a pretty good player, but I think Jaden Ivey was the right pick. You don't just get the whole, the pick fell into him. You get credit for making the right pick. I actually disagree.
You have to, because if he picks the wrong player, he gets all the blame.
All the blame.
So you
100%.
can't not give him any credit when he gets it right. That's what frustrates me, and that's not just Troy. That's in life in general. You can't get scrutinized when you mess up, but just be like, oh, well, you were supposed to get it right. So that's not how it works. It's not how it works. Brad Holmes taking Aiden Hutchinson, we're going to give him credit for that?
Yes.
Are we?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. Just to make sure.
I agree with you, bro.
Just to make sure. Yeah, no, and it's not even you guys. But this is actually a narrative that people have. Mo Sider, he gets credit because he found Mo Sider. It was a great pick by Steve Yzerman. But it goes both ways. Like Aiden Hutchinson, he fell to Brad Holmes. He still took the right player. He could have took Kayvon Thibodeau.
He could have.
He could have. Like, it was his decision. So, again, guys, you can say, well, Cade was the obvious pick. Ivy was the obvious pick, which is idiotic because it wasn't the obvious pick. It was a pick that we were all advocating for, but there was still Benedict Mathurin. People still wanted Keegan if he didn't fall, if he didn't get taken to Sacramento. There was a lot of other prospects that were in the conversation. Just to not give credit at all to Troy Weaver is idiotic, or to any GM for hitting on a pick. It's idiotic. It is, and I've been hearing this for too long, and I've responded to it so much. Like, at some point, we just got to give credit where it's due. Can we do that? Can we do that?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
You know,
All
Jeff,
right.
and I like this nuanced discussion because we disagreed a lot about 2020, but when it comes to getting credit for picking any player, it doesn't matter when. I mean, Brad Holmes also gets credit for picking Penei Sewell in 2021,
Absolutely.
which a lot of people say that he
But they
doesn't.
would
It was
say, well, he
obvious.
fell to Brad.
Right.
It's an easy pick.
You still got to make the pick.
Still have to make the pick.
How many times has a GM blown an obvious pick and then regretted it? If you make the right pick and the player turns out to be good, the GM gets credit. And he certainly doesn't get penalized and certainly doesn't get discredited for it. And the bottom line is, I think lower of the 2020 draft than you do, Jeff. But I can also say that the next 3 first-round draft picks that Troy Weaver picked look to be hits so far and look to be foundational pieces moving forward. All of that is true.
Yeah, and if he didn't hit on the picks afterwards, Sam, he'd be in a real problem.
Of course
I think
he
we'd
would.
all agree. If you don't hit on Cade or Ivy, yeah, we're looking at that
Sure.
2020 draft like,
Yeah.
something's up. But I'll tell you what, we got Gabby's trivia coming up, which, Sam, you already beat me in the first one. It was a close one. I mean, I lost by 1, okay? And I hate doing that. Losing's losing. All right, if you're not first, you're last. That's how it works. Ricky Bobby said it first, okay? So I'm going to see how this trivia goes.
Already getting into the movie references.
Well, if you got some, we'll see. If you got some Talladega Nights, maybe I have a chance. But before we do that, let me tell you about our friends over at Dispo, because you can join us and the Dispo family live at their Hazel Park location on June 23rd for Ermanni and Edwards and the Woodward Heavyweights from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. But again, come prepared as Dispo Dispensary takes your cannabis experience to new heights, located at 634 West 9 Mile Road in Hazel Park, Michigan. See you there for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz and the Heavies live June 23rd at Dispo Dispensary, your local cannabis plug.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Trivia time! It is trivia time. We're doing trivia for the second time this week. A little double dose of your trivia segment because we didn't have enough fun with trivia this week earlier. We decided to switch it up and do a random topic this week, and I'm not going to be in next week, so I figured, you know what, perfect timing to do 2 doses of trivia. This week we will be doing some movie trivia, and I'm very intrigued to see who has better general movie knowledge. No cheating and looking at the graphics ahead of time. That's all I have to say.
I did not peek at the graphics. I don't know how much Sam Flannel knows. He might know more than me. He might not.
We'll see.
We're going to find out.
All right. Are we ready, Lucas?
We are.
Oh, jeez.
Here we go. Here it comes.
Let's get it going.
And we got the intro to it, too.
Oh, yeah. Movie trivia. Shout out to intern Katie for helping me out with all of the trivia graphics. All right. Let's go into question number 1.
Let's go, Sam.
What number does Happy Gilmore wear?
All right, the chat, I know.
A, 18, B, looking. 15, C, 29, D, 99.
Okay, I got to be honest here. And I have a confession. The chat's gonna roast me.
Okay.
I've not seen Happy Gilmore.
So you're not gonna know the answer
okay,
to this
I'll take all the criticism I get. I deserve it all. I have not seen Happy Gilmore. So this is bad. I'm admitting that. I can't believe I just did that. What number does Happy Gilmore wear?
God.
Do you know this? I shouldn't answer that.
No.
We'll just answer the
We'll
question.
lock in, and then of course and then give your answers at the same time.
Give us the countdown.
Locked in.
3, 2, 1.
B.
C.
It's A.
Of course it is. Wow.
We are 0-0.
People are eviscerating you in the chat.
The chat's coming after me. I deserve it. I'm not going to fight back on it. I have not seen Happy Gilmore.
What if I told you that I believe that Happy Gilmore is one of the more overrated Adam Sandler movies?
Oh my God.
All right, now the
that
chat's
whole
really
era
gonna
of
come
Adam
for you.
Sandler, and I know there's a lot of people that don't agree with me on this, but that era where Adam Sandler could not act like a normal human being, like, every time he talked, dude, it was funny when I was 8. But once I've seen it 15 times, and now I'm 21 years, that's not funny to me anymore. Like, I'm sorry.
You just wake up and choose to hate on Adam Sandler?
No, I love Adam Sandler when he acts like a normal human being. But just those movies.
Lucas is a big Uncut Gems fan.
I am.
No, you know what? I agree with you, Lucas, in principle. And I don't want to be branded as an Adam Sandler hater. His movie Punch Drunk Love is arguably my favorite movie in the history of freaking cinema. I disagree with you, man. I think Billy Madison is overrated. Like, Little Nicky is terrible.
Waterboy?
Waterboy is one of the worst movies in the history of humankind.
Okay.
Thank you.
Guys, no, this isn't getting on. This is an Adam Sandler trash segment because I will not allow it.
Be.
And I love
Adam Sandler. Although I didn't see Happy Gilmore, and I'm not going to say it's overrated. I won't go that far. I've not seen it, so I'm not going to say that. We protect Adam Sandler on this show, but we got it wrong. So
and I love Adam
Understood.
Sandler.
All right, Lucas, you got the score at 0-0.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
All right, next question. In the Princess Diaries, Mia was the princess of what?
I know this one. Lock in.
A, Wales.
Of course you do. Of
B,
course you do,
Monaco. C, Genovia.
The Princess
D,
Diaries.
Florin.
Okay, give us a countdown.
3, 2, 1.
C. God damn it, you're fucking.
Is that right?
You both got it. Yes.
Amelia Munette,
I took
something
a
Rinaldi, Princess
my
of Genovia. That's a
God,
great movie.
you
That is
did
a great
not
movie.
just say the full name.
I missed one of them, but that's
no,
a great
that
movie.
was it.
Let's go.
Oh my
That's a
God.
great
Wait,
movie.
why did you say that so eloquently? Like
Because I know the movie backwards and forwards.
I gotta hear it again. Give it to us. Give it to us one more time, Flannel.
What is it like? Amelia Munette, something Rinaldi, Princess of Genovia.
This is what he watched before he kills people. He watches that, then he puts a trench
I
coat
don't even
on
know
and
the
takes
full
the
name.
streets.
That was fantastic. That made my entire.
Did you guys just see what just happened?
Amelia Munette
Okay.
Grimaldi, Princess of Genovia.
That's about right.
I don't even know what the hell that means. So go to the next one. 1-1.
Next question. How many points does Michael Jordan score in Space Jam? A, 60, B, 44, C, 15, D,
Okay.
23.
I got it.
Lock in.
Give us a countdown.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
A.
I have to double check the answer on this.
I actually have no idea. He has a
What
point
was
total.
that face, bro?
44. It is B.
I knew it.
All right.
See, now we're in my wheelhouse. All right, now we're in my wheelhouse.
So
Space Jam.
it's 2-1, Jeff?
Yep.
2-1 Jeff. I
Even
can't
though
believe
I think the LeBron Space Jam, people took that way too seriously.
Oh, yeah.
People trying to like film review it. Like, it's Space Jam. It's a kid's movie. I thought they were both fine. But Michael Jordan, that one was better, though. I will admit that. It was way
that.
better.
44 points on 22 shots.
Yeah. Perfect.
Very
There you go.
efficient.
That's efficient.
11
That's
All right.
efficiency.
Hold off of your Adam Sandler hate for the next question as we go into how many movies has Adam Sandler done? Over 100? Over 80? Over 60? Over 120?
Well, technically, if I say over 60, I'm right for all of them.
Oh.
That is the truth. I did realize this after the fact.
Technically, I mean, am I wrong?
But it's really like 60 plus,
Okay,
100
I
plus,
gotcha.
you know.
Yeah.
Rough, it's a rough number.
But that's a lot of movies, man. Okay, I'm ready. I'll just
I'm ready.
take a swing. I don't know for sure.
3, 2, 1.
C.
B. I'll go different from Sam because I don't know. I'll go B.
It is B.
Let's go! Let's go!
Nice guess.
I don't know if that counts.
And for the
But we'll
record,
give
I
it
do
to
like
you.
Adam Sandler, just hate that one stretch in some of his
Yeah,
movies.
we're together.
We're
Hey,
together.
Jeff's got a Jokic over LeBron lead right now.
Yeah. Well, listen,
technically.
to correct you now.
Oh, did
He
they
didn't
go
have
in four?
he didn't get a game. So instead of 3-1, it's just All right. I don't want to visit that. It's not the time. It's
The
series
second
is
best
over.
player since Jordan. Well, the best player since Jordan. Is
No, the
Nikola
best
Jokic.
player of all time. But
Well,
continue.
we do have a basketball question next.
Okay, so 3-1 in the lead here.
What basketball game are they at in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? A, Lakers Nets,
Aw, you
B,
tri-
Heat Bulls, C, Knicks Kings, or D, Celtics Lakers?
I thought you actually had a basketball question. How to lose a guy in 10 days? What is that?
I actually don't
It's
know.
rom-com.
Yeah, it's Matthew
Rom-com.
McConaughey, Kate Hudson, I believe.
Heck yeah.
Never seen
Flannel.
it. How do you, Sam?
The yellow dress, the iconic
talk.
yellow dress.
Okay,
JB
I'll
would be
say
smoking all of you.
Yeah.
I don't know what city this was like based in. I don't know like what the home team would be. I'll do D. Give me D.
All right, C. I know we kind of did it wrong, but
The answer is C.
because it was in New York, bro.
Yes, it was.
Sorry, bro. I didn't know how to
And the
lose a
Kings
guy
were
in 10
relevant
days.
back then. The Kings
Apparently,
were
you're
relevant
interested
back
in
then.
how to lose a guy in 10 days. I didn't know that was what you were interested in. I didn't know.
It's a great movie. Should add that to your list. We're gonna have like a
Jesus,
Jeff
man.
movie list after this.
Am
that
I
you need to
wrong
catch
for
up
that?
on.
Not knowing how to lose a what is it? How to lose a
I've
guy
never
in
seen
10
it.
days?
I've
What
never
the hell
seen
is that?
It's like an iconic rom-com.
Iconic.
Iconic.
All right.
Classic rom-com. All right, next question that I'm sure neither of you will know. What is the name of the princess in the movie Brave? A, Karen, B, Elsa, C, Aurora, D, Merida. Lock in.
Okay.
I'm locked in. Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
C.
A.
The answer is D.
Oh.
C
At
is
least Sam.
Aurora
if you
is
know
Sleeping Beauty.
princesses and you know how to lose a man in 10 days, Sam, we got to talk after the show.
How to lose a guy in
you're-
10 days.
All right, you're good. We both got
Aurora
that.
was the princess in Sleeping Beauty. Just
So it's 3-2?
Yep.
Yeah.
3-2. Okay.
all
Don't
right.
blow it, Jeff.
We got another Disney princess question back to back.
How many 12?
How many dwarves are there in Snow White?
Lock in.
A 7, B 6, C 8, D 12.
Bonus point, you can name all of them. Yeah, I'll pass. How about how many dwarves are there in Snow White?
Locked in?
Dude. I guess.
3, 2, 1.
D.
A.
It is A.
Of course
it's
it
Snow
is.
White and the Seven Dwarves is what the movie's called.
Oh, is that?
Dopey, Sneezy, Doc,
He's about to
Bashful,
take the lead on you.
Are you
Get it, Flannel.
Sleepy.
Dude, are you kidding me?
It's about to go to
Like the
4-3
two
real quick.
easiest ones left. The two
Did I
easiest
get Dopey
ones.
already?
Yep, you got Dopey.
Oh,
you got
my God.
No,
Sleepy.
he's not going through.
You
all of
got
them.
Doc.
Did I get Sneezy?
You got Sneezy.
Easy.
All right, I give up.
No, you
Yeah,
can
give
do
up.
it. You can do it. You're so close.
Dude, how does Sam?
Lucas.
Happy
help me
and
cheat.
Grumpy are the
Happy
other
and
ones.
Grumpy. Oh yeah, the
The easy ones.
my usual emotions on a day-to-day basis, depending on the time.
Doc, Sleepy, Dopey, Grumpy, Happy, Bashful, Sneezy.
It's the stupidest list of names ever, man.
You know,
I
you
really
just don't
wanted
like it
Flannel
because
to
you
take
didn't
the
get it
lead
right, bro. Don't project.
That was brilliant.
That would
Don't
have been
project. Just because you didn't see How to Lose a Man in 10 days doesn't mean you
Guy,
should be
how to
jealous.
lose a guy in 10 days.
Whatever. Man, guy, he, she, it,
Flannel
whatever.
was about to go
All right,
Robert
move on.
Murray there.
All right, I took an L there, so it's okay.
All right, getting out of the princess
So what is it,
category.
3-3?
3-3.
Yeah.
3-3.
You're lucky,
Damn.
though.
What is the first Harry Potter movie named? A. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. B. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. C. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. D. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in.
3, 2, 1.
B.
It is B.
Of course it is.
Flannel has taken the lead. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Jeff choking. What's new?
Yeah, dude, see. This is rough. I don't know Harry Potter. I don't know the dwarves.
The dwarves.
I don't know anything.
Maybe you can make
The
a
only answer
comeback.
I was confident about was, of course, Michael Jordan's Space Jam, because it's sports related. But anyway,
got
what's
it.
the next one?
You got
4-3. 4-3. I'm letting everyone down. My apologies.
God's testing his strongest soldiers right now. That's all that's happening, Jeff. Bounce back.
Next
Oh, he's
question.
tested me all right, and I'm failing.
That's for sure. Next question. What is the name on the bottom of Woody's boot in Toy Story? A. Stevie, B. Gracie, C. Bobby, D. Andy. And yes, I had to put a Toy Story question in here for our good friend Sid.
That was a
Lock in.
shot, Gabby.
I locked in.
3, 2, 1.
D.
Great job. Okay.
You say D?
Neutral.
Yes.
Neutral.
Thought I heard a B in there.
Neutral
making sure.
territory.
Hearing what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Neutral territory.
Maybe you thought it was Gracie. I wasn't sure. Maybe you thought it was Gracie. That's fair.
I'm realizing how many Disney questions I put in here / like Pixar, but it's okay. You'll see what I mean in the next question.
I can't wait. What is it? 4-4?
5-4.
I have the
5-4.
lead.
But you guys just
5-4.
got
Okay.
Yeah.
5-4.
What were they not allowed to touch in Finding Nemo? A, the booty, B, the belly, C, the butt, D, the boat.
Lock in.
Locked in.
3, 2, 1.
C.
Yes! That was good. That was a trick question.
It's a boat, but they
Yes.
called it the butt.
Yes. That was a trick question. But you both handled it with such grace. Fantastic
Telling you.
job.
ease.
The butt. I'm gonna touch the butt.
Okay.
Okay. Next one.
6-5.
Finish the lyric to this High School Musical song. We're soaring, flying. There's not a star in blank we can't reach.
Locked in.
A, the sky. B, the world.
Oh, I
C,
bumped this. I bumped this in the car.
space.
Oh, you would.
D, heaven. I think you get an extra point.
I bumped
I think
this
you
on
get an
the
extra
odds.
point if you can sing it. Okay?
No.
Yes.
No.
I mean, this is your opportunity to even the score if you get both right.
So I'm not singing this for
All
an extra
right.
point. I would rather take an L than sing this song. I'm being real. So I'll give you the answer. I'll give you the answer. Though.
3, 2, 1.
The sky. I forgot which one it was.
Jesus, guys. It's heaven.
Oh.
Confidence.
Why
from
that you can't bring religion
There's
into
a
high school musical
star
movies?
in
You know this. You see the
we
sky.
can't reach. Oh yeah.
Damn.
God, it's like the blind confidence that you had going into it is the best.
Maybe a little humility next time, Jeff Iafrate.
Yeah, maybe you need to,
Okay, you know what?
pull it together.
I
Realize
don't know
that
if I
you're
told
not
you this.
star of the movie trivia.
I hate trivia now. No, I'm just kidding. All right, whatever. Moving on. What's the score now? Did you get it wrong too?
I did.
Okay,
It's
it's
5-4.
5-4.
Yeah, still 5-4.
Okay, 5-4.
Flannel.
In crunch time.
This one is very intriguing. How long is the longest kiss in a rom-com movie ever? A, 34 minutes and 13 seconds. B, 2 minutes and 54 seconds. C, 6 minutes and 44 seconds. Or D, 30 seconds.
Yeah, if you're kissing for 34 minutes, you're having sex. So like, I don't know why you're kissing for a half hour. So I'll go with I got my answer now.
I got my answer.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
B.
The answer is C, 6 minutes
Wow.
and 44 seconds.
How?
Could you imagine getting to like 5 minutes and 45 seconds? Like, yeah, never mind. Cut. It's like,
Yeah, right.
In the movie Kids in America. But also think of the fact, like, that's how long it is on screen.
Kids in America?
It's not about, like, actual kids.
Oh, okay.
But it's, yeah.
Because when you hear the
2005
longest
movie.
kiss in a movie ever was in Kids in America.
Yeah, I
Just
haven't
throws me
seen it. I'm
off.
not familiar with the movie, but...
Yeah, I don't know if I want to be now.
All I know is that, like, if the kiss is on screen for that long, for 6 minutes and 44 seconds, like, how long were they filming that kiss? Because there has to be time before and after, and how many times did they then film that 6 minute and 44 second kiss? Like, that's aggressive.
Yeah, I never seen the movie. Sam, have you seen the movie?
No, I have not.
Just making sure. Okay.
Check it out now,
All right.
though.
All right. Well then, yeah, we both got that one wrong.
All right, well, we have two
We were
more.
on the same page. We thought it'd be B.
Yeah.
So.
We have a couple questions left, so do you want to go to break and then decide
Yes.
who's going to win after?
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you about our friends over at Big Boy. We'll continue trivia when we get back. But at Big Boy, you could try classic breakfast items like some classic strawberry hot cakes or mouth-watering red velvet waffles. But if you're not feeling breakfast, you can get lunch there as well. Strawberry bacon chicken wrap or their refreshing summer splash salad. And don't forget to grab dessert as well. They got their very delicious classic strawberry pie, deep fried vanilla Oreos, and much more at Big Boy.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here, closing in on the second hour. If you're tuning in on woodwardsports.com, you can check out all the latest news, articles, updates, show clips, and merchandise. And if you're watching live on YouTube, subscribe, leave a like on the stream. It helps us out a lot. And if you can't watch live, it's okay. You can download our podcast on any app you use. Is it Spotify or Apple Music? Leave a 5-star review. But now we're back to Gabby's Trivia. 6-5 right now, close game.
We're going to close it out here. We have 2 questions left, and I have faith in you that you guys can figure these last 2 out.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Lucas, next question, please.
Hold up. There we go.
In the first Friday the 13th film, how many people does Jason murder? A,
Wow.
57, B, 5, C, 11, D, none.
So, 57... Yeah. I got my answer.
I'm locking in. Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
C.
The answer is D, none.
Oh,
Wait.
I was about to do that trick question answer, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. Damn.
He doesn't kill anyone in the first movie.
What type of scary movie is that?
How? Was that like his upbringing?
I didn't see it.
I didn't
My
see
wife
it
probably
either. I
would know,
just looked
but
up the answers.
Oh, it was his mother. Thank you guys for that context. Okay, we're just idiots. Okay, moving on. 6-5.
All right.
That's
this
a
is
big
your
out.
opportunity to even the score out. If not, we're going to have a winner. How much money do they win betting in The Hangover? A, $100. B, $65K. C, $80K. D, none.
Lock in.
You watched this movie?
You haven't seen The Hangover? Damn, Jeff.
That's a great cinematic piece.
Absolutely.
Put the answers up one more time. Okay. All right, I got it. These trick questions are stupid, man.
This is not a trick question.
All right, let's. You have none in $100. Okay, go. I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
C.
It is C.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
$80K.
That was a great scene, too.
And the winner is
Wait,
Let's go.
You know what?
Look at that. I get an award with my face on it.
You are the Oscar.
Oh, thank you.
You are the winner. You are the Oscar. Congratulations.
Sam, your head fits perfectly on that
Wow.
award.
I would just like to thank everyone who doubted me and all the haters in the chat.
David Montgomery's not supporting you.
David Montgomery is certainly probably not a fan of me winning this, but you know what? I like David Montgomery. I think he's a very, very good back. Just not as big of an upgrade as people think. But that's besides the point.
Let me tell you what. You'll learn something about me over the last 2 trivia sessions.
You have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I do. Now, movies, I need a lot of work to do. So it is what it is, boys. Congratulations,
Flannel's
Sam.
got you 2-0 now.
Yeah,
in
he
trivia.
does. He does. But in debates, it's like 13-0. So we'll stick it that way.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding with you. All right, we'll go to break. When we get back, leave your questions for mailbag, and we'll get to them, whether it's for me, Sam, Gabby, Lucas, whoever. But before we do that, I got to tell you about our friends over at Swiss Insurance, because now that summertime is here. You got to make sure you're properly insured, whether it's a grad party or just a group of people over to enjoy the lake or pool. Your liability exposure increases significantly in the summertime. Let the Swiss Insurance Group review your coverage and make sure you are protected from an unexpected loss. Check us out at swissins.com or call Mark today at 248-800-4177.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
Welcome back. We're back. Good morning, Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Closing in on the end of the show. It's mailbag time, and we're going to get to all your questions. And I'll just start off the first one with a very direct shot at me, which is fair. Kevin Bell. Jeff, do you watch movies above PG-13? Yes, I can confirm I do. Now, not all movies, and I do, and that's one of my problems, Sam, because I watch a lot of different movies, but I always watch really random movies.
Mm-hmm.
I always miss the obvious ones. Like, I got to watch The Hangover.
Yeah.
I got to watch Happy Gilmore, whether you think it's overrated or not. I got to open up. I got to expand my arsenal. I just don't have time. I'm consumed in sports. I'm consumed in watching YouTube on sports.
You know what I'm hearing?
Just
a
sports.
lot of excuses.
Yeah. That's true.
Hangover's a must-watch, though.
Hangover is a must-watch. And Happy Gilmore as well. Way too late on that one. Jay Wilfan. Jay Wilfan says, mailbag, Sam Flannel, why do you look like a guy who can't stay on the field like Chase Young?
Why do I
don't
like a guy or
why do you like guys who can't stay on the field like Chase Young?
I mean,
That's the question.
because it's not about him staying on the field or not staying on the field. I'm just saying if he's available for the Lions, I think that they should look into him, because whether you guys remember it or not, in 2020 he was Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he does have a lot of potential, and I think he would fit well on this defense. And it might be a year rental with him being on his rookie contract, or maybe beyond. I like Chase Young's potential. It has nothing to do with injured players or not.
Another question here. Steve-O says, mailbag, Jeff, I understand where you're coming from when a GM like Brad Holmes should get credit for good draft picks, but I will only give him credit when he wins the division in a playoff game. Well, that's the other part of it, Steve-O. I'm talking just the draft. Now, accomplishments, you're absolutely right. Playoff win, winning the division, that's the other part of it as well. So I'm not arguing with that. Mailbag, Corey says, better revenge killer, Denzel or Liam? I got to give it to Liam Neeson.
I got to go Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson. I mean, I love Denzel. Don't get me wrong. One of my favorite actors of all time. But Liam Neeson is you look up badass in the dictionary, Just a picture of Liam Neeson.
Absolutely.
There. Has to be.
It's got to be Denzel.
What?
Denzel has revenge killings. You're saying? It's Denzel. American Gangster, The Equalizer.
No, they both have their. That's why he used both of them. They both have their own.
Yeah, but it's Denzel.
Different arsenals. Of
Yeah, they're both like, if you're picking two guys for revenge killers, it's those two. But I personally will take Liam Neeson.
I agree with you,
because he will find you, and he will kill you. Okay. Let's see here. Todd asks, who has better stats in the ATL game, Gibbs or Bijan? Well, I mean, I think Bijan will get more carries. So stats, I guess, in totality, I would say Bijan, because I would assume he's going to get more of the workload. But you never know. Jahmyr Gibbs is more of a home run hitter, so if he takes one of those plays home, maybe he has total better yards. But I'm going to go with Bijan.
You know, and people are going to call me a hater for this, but I think it's Bijan in a landslide, because no matter what, I think Jahmyr Gibbs might end up being a damn good player and a damn good pick for the Detroit Lions, but I am a simp for Bijan Robinson's potential, and I think in his rookie season he rushes for at least 1,400 yards in that Arthur Smith system that got Tyler Algier to get 1,000 yards. So yes, Bijan Robinson.
Stint, thanks for the $5. He says, Jeff, is it true you ditched the heavyweights to watch The Notebook last weekend? I will not confirm nor deny that statement. All right, but no, I'll just say it. Actually, I didn't watch The Notebook. I don't even want that to be in anyone's mind. Did not watch The Notebook.
Mailbag, what's the best pizza chain?
Pizza chain.
It's tough.
There's a lot of good pizza chains. I think the best pizza I've ever had was in New York when I went there. It was like the cheapest, sweatiest, like probably sitting on the little the heating thing for probably an hour.
Yeah, real greasy.
Greasy.
Been sitting there for too long.
And it was
condensation starts to form.
It was the best pizza I've ever had. Now, pizza chain, there's a lot of good options. Buddy's is great.
Buddy's is good.
I think Green Lantern is really great. Yeah. Green Lantern has great pizza. There's a lot of different ones.
I don't know if I'd be able to pick a pizza chain. I'm more into like the local places, especially here with pizza being so big. One of my favorites is 313 Pizza Bar, Lake Orion.
That's another one.
Pickle pizza, so good.
That's foul.
There's a lot, man.
I agree. I agree with you.
I don't know. Do they have Geno's up here?
Do they?
Like Geno's Pizza?
Geno's. I haven't heard of it.
The
They
sauce
might.
is
Chat
kinda
would
like
know.
sweet, but they got a couple of them in Toledo, bro. That place fucks. Jets is pretty good. I like the thick crust like that.
Jets is always reliable. You can get Jets, it'll be solid.
Yeah.
Same thing here. And I see Cloverleaf's another one. Great option there. Let's go to some other questions. Oh, gosh. Steve says, Jeff likes him cheap and sweaty. Steve,
wow.
No comment on that, Steve. Key says, Mailbag, how many times did ABC play the song Let's Get It Started between commercial breaks and intro and outro for the 2004 Pistons-Lakers NBA Finals? It was a lot. Let's Get It Started.
I'll tell you what, though, that Black Eyed Peas album, Ella Funk, was a banger back in the day. It was good.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
you
you're not
know,
wrong.
and it actually had a different name on the album, which I'm not going to repeat.
No, don't do that.
I will not.
Jack Harrington, Mailbag, can we get a college football trivia before the season starts?
Heck yeah, I think we definitely have to do that.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun as well.
For sure.
Jesse asks, Mailbag, Gabby, where's the coolest place you've ever been to? Second question, what's your go-to flavor for wings? I'm assuming that those are both for you.
Coolest place I've ever been to. I went to Italy a couple summers ago, and that was awesome. So I would say that. Or London. I studied abroad in London for a bit, and that was really cool.
Yeah, that's
Favorite flavor of wings? I like buffalo. Very basic. Or like a good garlic parmesan.
What about you, Sam? Favorite wings?
Favorite wings?
Miss Lions are on. You're getting wings. What do you get? What
People
flavor?
are going to laugh at this one. Plain. No sauce.
Oh, my
God.
And you know what else? Boneless wings are better.
No.
Boneless plain wings. I love it.
Oh, you're a serial killer.
You're a sick human being.
Look, I mean, I can't even eat spicy things. Like, my top notch is when I have Frank's Red Hot, I start sweating. I'm white as fuck. But even me, I'll put sauce on my
Wait.
I'll rather have a little bit of spice.
This is just not good for anything, Sam.
From now on, when you order chicken wings, you will now say, just give me chicken nuggets.
No, because
that's essentially what you're eating.
Bone in or bone out?
Bone out for sure.
Bone out.
So it's literally just chicken nuggets.
Oh my God, everyone's gonna die on this hill now. I mean, just let me eat what I want.
You're just eating popcorn chicken at that point.
You know what?
Yeah.
I am making all of you guys more likable, so you guys should be thanking me.
Okay. Oh well, you heard him there. Okay. Let's get to some more of these questions. Randy says it's official. Sam is a serial killer. Randy, that I don't think so.
He's
but
not the first one that has accused me of that. The heavyweights chat is ruthless. They all
Did you pick your favorite flavor, Jeff?
I'm pretty. I like buffalo honey barbecue.
Yeah.
I don't care. I like a ton of different flavors. I don't get plain
variety.
like Sam Flannel. I don't really have a preference. As long as it's not top of the and the spicy scale or the hot scale, the very top. That's my dad. He loves hot stuff. I don't. I like hot things, but not. I'm talking like the hottest of the hot.
Fair.
I'll stay
You're,
away
like,
from that.
sweating while you're
yes,
eating.
Yeah, that's not my
Not
cup
enjoyable.
of tea. But yeah, I don't really care. I'll take anything, to be honest with you. Joseph says, Mailbag, what do y'all think Levi, or do y'all think Levi will have a good year? It's not really about having a great year. Just get on the field for me with Levi Ozarike. If he's playing and he's contributing, at least he's heading in the right direction. One step better than being off the field and unavailable. Sam.
Yeah, I would agree with that. As long as he's a rotational piece on the defensive line, he can be a valuable commodity on this team. He's never going to be a star or dominant, but at one time he was drafted higher overall than Aleem McNeil, so I would like to see him be on the field and at least provide an extra body at a position where you could use more depth. So yes, I think he'll be on the field.
Garrett says Sam eats hot dogs in one bite. Is that true?
I do not, but I am a bun and ketchup guy, which is another thing that people are going to lambaste me for, but you know
No
what?
mustard?
It's okay.
No mustard?
I mean, I can take it or leave it.
Somebody actually did call that in the chat. They said Sam is probably a bun and ketchup guy for hot dogs as well.
You got me.
Sorry, we love you, Sam. Even though I learned a lot about you today.
Probably too much, right?
And that's why I love doing shows with you, because I feel like I learn something new every day. Now I know that you eat plain boneless wings, which essentially are just chicken nuggets. But it is what it is.
Well, watching How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah, apparently you mastered that movie backwards and forwards.
King's Knicks, baby. King's
but
Knicks.
hopefully a lot of you all learned something today. We thank every single one of you for sticking with us and being as loyal as you guys are. Again, from Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, Gabby, Lucas, we say thank you, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend.